Why, hello. Hello. Captain Garrett here. Welcome to the Captain's Cast. I am your host. This is Swords and Starships, and I have just been talking to absolutely nobody for 20 minutes. So this is bad. Hopefully you can see me now. I was just bragging about how industrious your captain has been lately. Yes, I should be streaming now. Yeah. Do you see me? Oh, well, this is no good. So there I was talking about how I have just set up StreamYards and I'm simultaneously streaming to YouTube, to Twitter, and to Rumble. And then it turned out that I had not hit live on YouTube yet. And so I was not streaming to anyone. And so if you want to see what I said for 20 minutes, go to Twitter. On Twitter, it was going great. So, all right, I can't get Kick to work. I got to figure out Kick. So that one I wasn't able to stream to. I am streaming to Rumble. I am live on Rumble. So that is working. So my apologies to basically the whole audience. So I just started with StreamYards. I've been using OBS up until now. So your captain begs your indulgence and your forgiveness. And would this be a bad time to say, please like and subscribe? Now, returning to the subject at hand, I was just pointing out for the unfortunate YouTube listeners who did not see what I was just saying, the brilliant monologue I was just indulging in. I was talking about how Oppenheimer is shaping up to just be an absolute blowout and how, Nolan's a bit of a mixed bag. So when I see this article saying that this movie is going to crush it, I am excited. Oppenheimer, based on the 2005 book American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin, tracks the creation of the atomic bomb during World War II through the eyes of theoretical physicist and Manhattan Project leader J. Robert Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy, who is just the man, stars in the lead role. The film also features Matt Damon as Manhattan Project Director General Leslie Groves Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, a founding commissioner of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission. Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, and Benny Safdie also star. And I totally just pretended to pronounce that. So what we're talking about is how director Paul Schrader saw this movie and basically said, this is the best, most important film of the century. It blows the doors off the hinges. And he's not even like the biggest Nolan fan, this guy was saying. He says, I am at the moment stunned and emotionally recovering from having seen it. Oh my God, I want to go see it right now. I want to go see this right now. I think it is going to be a stunning artistic achievement, and I have hopes it will actually stimulate a national, even global conversation about the issues that Oppenheimer was desperate to speak out about how to live in the atomic age, how to live with the bomb, and about McCarthyism, with what it means to be a patriot, and what is the role for a scientist in a society drenched with technology and science to speak out about public issues and support Ukraine. Is probably what this same guy is saying all the time. Ukraine flag and bio, screw Russia. And also we should be worried about atomic proliferation and nuclear warmongering. Yes, but it's not Schrader's personal beliefs that interest me. It's the fact that he's not much of a Nolan fan. And wow, that is a pretty stunning statement. The best, most important film of the century. I can believe that. Dude, the Manhattan Project is fascinating. I absolutely love this history. It is, this is what, think about this for a second, okay? We, at pretty much the beginning of World War II, were already thinking about having to beat the Nazis to getting a bomb. And this is just off the top of my head. This is from my knowledge, my personal knowledge of history, and, I give or take a fact or two. But basically, the gist of it is we had a choice to make. Do we invest all of this wealth and treasure into researching a bomb And is it worth it? And if so, which theoretical concept do we go for? Because there were two ways to get at it that the scientists theorized. One was to create a gun type weapon, which I believe is what we know as the little boy bomb, which is the plutonium weapon. I might be wrong about that. I'd have to double check. And I believe the uranium weapon was the Fat Man, which was an implosion type device. The idea was either of these could theoretically work, but it will be a massive, massive investment. What today would be billions and billions of dollars just to develop one of them, right? What did we do? We said, let's do both. So they set up two laboratories, one in New Mexico and one in Washington. And we worked on both at the same time. And we wound up getting three weapons, the Gadget, which was the prototype. And then we got the Little Boy and the Fat Man, and you know where those went. So that's why we actually wound up with two. And it was as much a bluff as a final attack, those two weapons, because that was it. We were acting like we had more, but we really didn't. And it would have been a very difficult thing to create more of them at that time. Meanwhile, the Nazis were so obsessed with their racial politics that they had basically driven out any scientist who was suspected to be Jewish or Jewish. They had driven them all out of physics. That's why we have Einstein. That's why we had so many basically refugees from the scientific community in Germany. Basically, the only man they had left capable of developing a nuclear weapon was Heisenberg, which, of course, would be the namesake that Walter White assumed as part of his alter ego in the excellent show Breaking Bad. Werner Heisenberg was the physicist who had the knowledge and the theoretical ability to actually develop a weapon. Unfortunately, even he was brought before the Gestapo on suspicion of being Jewish and or homosexual, possibly both. And he almost went to a concentration camp and just barely got out of it. That's how hard it was to be a scientist. So the Nazis actually never wound up getting very close to having a bomb. Part of it was that reason, and part of it was they spent so much of their time researching other boondoggle super weapons that when they should have just been developing like a tactically effective tank or bomber, which they never developed. There's a great book on this, The Second World Wars by Victor Davis Hanson, that breaks it all down very nicely. And so they were so obsessed with their gigantism that they really didn't have much time for a nuclear weapon, and they only had one guy working on it. But we didn't know that. Of course, how the story goes. So it's a fascinating story that, like, we basically had enough resources and economic might, we Americans, that is, to create not one but two weapons. We figured I'll try it both ways, and the world's never been better thanks to that basic achievement. You're welcome. I find the whole history. There's a great film called 13 Days with Kevin Costner, and I want to say it's the guy who plays Pike in the 2009 Star Trek film, Bruce Greenwood. He plays Kennedy. So it's basically Kevin Costner. I don't think he plays Robert Kennedy. It's been a while since I saw it. I think he plays one of the members of the cabinet. And Bruce Greenwood plays Kennedy. It's called 13 Days. It's about the Cuban Missile Crisis. And Kevin Costner's character in the movie, at the end of the film, they've resolved the crisis. The tensions are coming down. The world is exhaling, basically. And he's just been, witnessing all of it in the White House. And he says to his wife in the morning, as he's eating breakfast with his kids when the missile crisis is over, he says, every day that the sun comes up and we're here, it says something about us, people, and I quite liked that line because it reminded me that, well, we've lived with the existence of these weapons for 70 years, or give or take, and we're still here. And that gives me some hope because really, we could have pushed that button at almost any time in the last 7 decades, and we haven't. It's been a couple close shaves. So what I hope is that this film will revive in the minds of every human being that, like, we gotta solve our shit. Like, we gotta handle our shit. Okay, we're kind of not able to get away with being the way we are very much longer, as long as we have these weapons. So on one way of looking at it, on one hand, maybe they're actually a good thing in a roundabout way, because they force us to confront our nature and deal with it, because we simply have no choice, or basically encourage us to do away with war entirely. So that would be the most optimistic reading of it. I don't know if Star Fury's in the chat, but I doubt he would agree with me. Let me see. Where is my chat? Okay. I did have a few chats come in, but then I screwed up the stream in YouTube. And so there we go. I got a chat from Silverback. I think the implosion was the plutonium and the gun was the uranium, but I could be wrong. Honestly, I'd have to Wikipedia because I don't remember. I get them. All right. What else? Try this headline. Did you know this? Have you heard about this? Share screen. Sound of Freedom crosses the $100 million mark in the US. To every single headline, every single one, they have to add the faith-based political thriller is from Angel Studios, which also produces The Chosen. These freaking liars. It's unbelievable. It is not a faith-based film. There is no religious proselytizing in this movie. It's not about the gospel. It's not about the life and times of Jesus. It's not about a holy war. It's not the Crusades, or, it's none of that. Oh my God, there are Christians in this movie. Jim Caviezel plays a Christian man who has a Christian perspective on the problem. And he says, frankly, one of the best lines I've ever heard: God's children are not for sale, which is a killer line. 60 years ago, nobody would have considered that a faith-based line. That would have just been a line. He would have just been a Christian man stating his perspective. That's all that would have been. He is a character, and the character is so this idiotic, shall we say, adjective that they are applying to it is implying that if you have a film that is not telling a religious story, that is not proselytizing, the subject of the story is not religion of any kind, but it contains a character who is a principal character who is religious, it is therefore a faith-based film. That is outrageous. It's insane. Then they add political thrill. What is political about it? Only the whacked out, crazy, sick, woke left think that this is a political thriller. They think it's political if you believe we need to end child sex trafficking and raise awareness about it. They consider that a politically partisan issue. Well, then I guess I'm a political partisan. I guess I am a partisan. If I am going to say we need, in the link to the description, in the description there is, I should say, in the description of the video, you will find a link to the Pay It Forward program where you can donate tickets to this movie. It has just hit $100 million. It's got a $14 million budget. It's crushing it. It has beat Insidious, The Red Door. It beat Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And it beat Mission Impossible 7, a film I love, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it's amazing how they want to make this a political issue. Well, then I have chosen my side, media. And clearly you have chosen yours. And you've chosen the wrong side. And that I can tell you. But there you have it. So the faith-based, the funny thing is they've been doing this exact gaslighting tactic with everything. Anything that is not the most whacked out, woke, leftist propaganda drivel. Anything to the right of that is not filled with critical race theory and identity politics and lecturing and preaching and just a bunch of garbage nobody enjoys. Even the idiots who believe that crap don't even go to these movies. And so whenever there's a movie to the right of that, they always say this kind of stuff. Right-wing, Trump supported, just whatever bullshit, right? Any movie that is basically made by a generally conservative, Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick is a great example. They basically had all these articles about how, the right wing really likes this movie. And it's like they don't even identify who the country is in the film that we're fighting in Top Gun Maverick. There's never even like any political message at all in that movie. And that's even one of the criticisms of it. It's like, we're fighting a war, we're rooting for our side, and we don't even know who the other side is in this movie. But yet to them, because it's a film in which there is a powerful masculine hero, he's not a loser and he's not the butt of every joke, and he actually succeeds and helps people and is heroic, and it does what he does best. And America is to be celebrated and lauded. Because of all those reasons, this is a right-wing movie. Just like Exercise is now right-wing. So the gaslighting, this is not new. But what's striking about it is this is the one issue, child trafficking. This is the one issue that should unite humanity. Unite humanity. The one thing that we can say, all right, look, I hate your guts, you crazy wokey. I hate your guts, you MAGA, hit hayseed. But we can both agree that like child sex trafficking, that should be stopped. And look, if Sound of Freedom had been a propaganda film with a clunky script and like a lot of preachy propagandistic dialogue, I would have told you. And I would have told you I didn't like it. I would have flat out told you, hey, it's well-meaning, it's well-intentioned. I appreciate the raising awareness. It's not a good film. It's not good. Dialogue is rough. Oh, the acting. Oh, and that whole gospel music part where everyone was singing in the church and it was just really on the nose. No, that was not good for me. This film has none of that. It is sober, grounded, powerful. It's soberingly real. That's the thing that's so striking about it to me, is I really did, because I didn't know anything about it, I really did expect this to be like a kind of run and gun Navy SEAL mission to take out the bad guys, which, believe me, I would have loved in this film. I really would have. It would have been cathartic. It would have been excellent. The problem is it would have also been a fantasy. And what this film is it is chillingly real. And the wokies, the lefties, the media, Hollywood, they hate it. They hate it. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? In fact, let me see if I can grab this headline for you, because I want you, there is one that is of particular interest. Let me see this bit of a, I might be able to find it this way. Yeah, there we go. Bam. I got it. I got the headline for you. Now, quick check in on the chat, of course. Jax is back. Ah, yes, people are melting down. Seen Owen Benjamin on the topic. He is going ballistic over Sound of Freedom. Yeah, well, I have not, but I must know. Star Fury says, when are they not melting down? Yes. Exactly my point, Star Fury. Exactly my point. And the answer I would have liked to give to your question, the answer I would have liked to have given is they're not melting down about this because it's about children. It's about saving their lives. It's about ending slavery, a kind of slavery that is so horrific and unimaginable. All of us humans, from the reddest MAGA supporter to the bluest Biden supporter, if that's a real thing, just grant me that. We all agree. Let's stop this thing, right? Whoever's guy is in the White House, I don't care. Let's stop this thing. I would have liked to have been able to give you that answer, that they're not melting down. Honestly, I would have liked to have said that even if the reason that they're not melting down is because they understood how they're going to look if they melt down about this. I really did think, some wokies, very few, but some of them are not completely stupid people. Okay, like a good example of this, Ryan Murphy, who is the showrunner of American Horror Story, the writer creator, that one of the wokest freaking writers ever of all time. All of his stories are woke. He actually is able to write a couple of good woke stories, which is like the unicorn. Like, that's not normally possible, but he's entertaining enough in his writing style, I think, that he can pull it off sometimes, about half of the time. Well, he wrote that, and it's woke as hell too. He wrote that Dahmer show for Netflix, and it went crazy. Everyone loved that show. That is a classic Ryan Murphy type show, and it was well written, and it was packed with a bunch of woke bullshit towards the end as well. It's a little bit stealthy, but it's there. And so my thought was the smarter ones would have said, well, if we melt down about this, this is going to look bad. If we melt down about this, they're going to know we're fully behind maps. Like, we are pro map, that this is our agenda. We really are grooming that's really a thing. We're doing it. We don't want to have that look. So we're just going to sit this one. We're going to sit this one out and just be a little quiet this time. Just this once. We're going to go right back to hating all of humanity and wanting everything to be ugly and dismal and depressing right after this. But for this one, we're going to sit it out. We're going to bench it. We're going to bench the team. We just want to let's slip under the radar. They couldn't even do that. They couldn't even help themselves. And I give you want evidence? In the words of Gul Dukat, he wants evidence. He wants evidence. I'll give you evidence. This for bounding into comics and plenty of other sources as well. But I just get a good look at this guy, because let me tell you something. This is a man who does not like Sound of Freedom. Would you like to know why? Bloomberg writer Noah Berlatsky, who attacked Sound of Freedom, gets exposed as a pro-pedophilia activist. Bloomberg writer Noah Bertalski, who recently penned an article attacking Sound of Freedom and moviegoers attending the film, was quickly exposed as a pro-pedophilia activist. The article was titled QAnon. Oh, isn't that interesting? It's always QAnon with these freaks. QAnon and Sound of Freedom both rely on tired Hollywood tropes. Attacks the film as a QAnon dog whistle. Berlasky wrote, so I got to be extra creepy when I do this voice. Sound of Freedom is a QAnon dog whistle, or is it just another thriller? That the answer is that whatever the filmmaker's intentions, it functions as both. These narratives do little to help victims, and I care a lot about victims, but I like creating them, but they can create coalitions of feeling disgust and outright righteous rage that connect conservative. Ew, conservatives are gross. Conspiracy theorists with the mainstream. That's why Trump, ew, gross, is screening it. That's why its popularity is ominous. So let me get this straight. The movie's a dog whistle. It's QAnon adjacent. Trump is gross. Conservatives are gross. Those are all the reasons you should not see this film, because conservatives had any involvement at all. Conservatives are not people and should all be put in a concentration camp. That's basically what these people think. It's like they should all go to a re-education camp where they can actually become correct thinking citizens. So conservatives are not persons. Christians are not persons. They're not entitled to have opinions, views, or causes. If they do, it's for evil purposes. Just want to be clear on that. And Trump is bad. Okay, cool. What else about this guy? Following the publication of the article, Berlatsky was exposed as a pro-pedophilia activist. The post-millennial senior editor Andy No shared to Twitter, the person who wrote this Bloomberg opinion piece is leftist activist Noah Berlatsky. He was the spokesperson for MAP, minor attracted person advocacy group, Protasia. In 2017, he tweeted that pedophiles are a stigmatized group who get designated as deviants for hateful, orange man bad purposes. I the orange man bad. So there you go. And this is his exact tweet right here. Pedophiles are essentially a stigmatized group. Certain people get designated as deviants and people hate them. And I hate Trump and conservatives and Christians as well. They're problematic and they're QAnon adjacent. Well, what does that tell you? If there's ever been a time to be proud to be a conservative, whether you are or not, frankly, these people think you are. If you're a normal human being who thinks child trafficking is bad, you're a conservative now. You're a right-wing MAGA, crazy, radical, alt-right crazy. If you are on the partisan line of believing child sex trafficking should be stopped. I just want you to be clear on what your political ideology now means. And if you are on the side of this guy, well, I guess that means you're a leftist. I guess that means you're woke. So yeah, lefties, you can have this one. You can have them. You defend these people. That's your job. You go out there and you keep attacking this movie and you keep protecting creeps like this. I have to tell you. Oh, look, I forgot. There's more. He went. This is other tweets. This guy. Oh my God! Look at this guy's photo. It's not even. Look. Stereotypes exist for a reason. Okay. This is not good. Young people of any gender, this guy wrote, who trade sex. He's talking about underage sex workers, otherwise known as slaves. Young people of any gender who trade sex face arrest and abuse from police. No one is very interested in helping them. Yes, and notice that the police are the bad guy. Yeah. What you might call that a system of systemic oppression, might you? Yes, the police are the enemy, Trump is the enemy, conservatives are the enemy, Christians are the enemy, Sound of Freedom is the enemy, Jim Caviezel is the enemy, but because they are all the people that are oppressing child sex workers who are just trying to make a living, don't you know? Do I have that right, Mr. Berlansky? The issue isn't that people care about the victims. The issue is pedophiles are loathed. Well, true statement, sir. Oh, I mean, the second part anyway. Look at the insanity of that statement. That like, because pedophiles are loathed, it means people don't care about the victims. Why is it not possible to have both? We want to save the victims and we loathe the pedophiles. There's two things can exist at the same time, sir. Oh God. Okay, get rid of that. Get rid of that. I can't look at that. The presence of that man's face on my screen is going to make it impossible for me to hold down my lunch. So yes, I went through 3 fascinating stages with this. The first time I heard of Sound of Freedom, which was literally days before it released, never had heard about it before. Oh, okay, it's a film, and what's it about? Oh, it's a Tim Ballard, okay, and he saved children from. Wow, that's powerful. Indie movie? Oh, not supported by Hollywood. Not surprising. Oh, so that would be cool. You know, imagine if this movie were successful. I said, I bet this would piss the wokies off. And then I thought, wow, that's stunning. And then I thought, they have to have some strategy. Surely they know how they will look if they attack this movie. And for that reason alone, this will be the one that they kind of pull back a little. Then one article comes out from Jezebel. Immediately, the day the movie comes out, one article from Jezebel. It's as drenched in the creepiness and the pedophile defense as you've ever seen. And I'm thinking, wow, there was one out there. One bold, woke soul who just went for it. And I'm thinking, maybe the rest of the wokies are like, shut the fuck up, man. What are you doing? You're giving away the game. Shut your fucking mouth. Let the conservatives have this one. Idiot. That's what I'm kind of expecting, right? Variety, Deadline, The Guardian, all of them. Just and it's the approved Grace Randolph. So I'm not gonna watch this movie because it was a bad business decision to put it out because it's only ever gonna make hardly any money, $100 million. So I'm not going to still watch it because it's conservative and there's an election coming up. Has no political messaging in it. So anyway, all of them line up and they have the typical, yes, well, this movie is very good and well-meaning, but there's a note of the dog whistle in this, and it's very disconcerting. And of course, I care about the children. Nobody wants to see them exploited. Nobody does. Nobody. By Jove. But it is concerning that the star of the film, which we, of course, all would have supported wholeheartedly, but the star has expressed problematic views. I'm thinking, all right, well, that's typical. Ain't that just, fine? Sure. At this point, they probably do it without even thinking about it. They're like, oh, a film a conservative likes that has one Christian notion in it. All right, cool. Let me get to my keyboard. Let me just chat GPT. Give me 10 woke things I should say about a movie I don't like. Oh, okay. It's a QAnon adjacent. Got it. Donald Trump is planning to watch it. Oh, okay, good. And I'm thinking, so it's just habit. It's just habit. And then a flat out avowed pedophile defender comes out and says, this movie is bad. And I'm thinking, these people are fucking nuts. They're insane. I feel like to an extent, even I couldn't even predict. I'm thinking these people, they're lunacy. They're lunacy. And let me explain what I mean by these people. I mean crazy, radical, leftist, identity, politics, wackos, sickos. Let there be no mincing of words. That's who I'm talking about. Their lunacy has reached such a fit of peak. They can't even see what they look like. They can't even hear themselves. They're in the position of making defending children a partisan issue, a political voting presidential election issue. They are in the position of saying, well, if your orange man is going to go see the movie and champion this cause, well, screw you. Our president, Mr. Biden over there, after he gets done with his 15 naps, he is going to get right on ignoring this. And so you could just take that, MAGA crazies. And they don't even understand that they're choosing that. They're choosing that. Why? It's an unforced error. Understand, folks. This is a tactical Machiavellian analysis here. This is purely the Game of Thrones gamesmanship of it. They're playing a Game of Thrones with all of society. Whether you like it or not, we are all of us in a Game of Thrones with these people. And believe me, that phrase, you either win or you die in the Game of Thrones, that's what they're playing for. Trust me on this. And being a bit metaphorical. They're playing for all the marbles, is what I'm saying. And we better be too. And if this reaction to this movie does not show you that, if this movie does not show you their reaction to this movie, if it does not show you how serious this fight is, you better wake up, because there ain't nothing that's going to wake you up to this. If you don't think Bud Light going down in flames, it's not one of the most important things that has happened in our culture in 50 years. If you don't think that, you need to read Mr. Bertasky's sharp, trenchant indictment of this film that is QAnon adjacent. You need to understand these people are whacked out. And they're playing for all the power in society, all of it. Michigan courts just ruled you can $10,000 fine, felony imprisonment if you misgender someone. First Amendment, what's that? Game of Thrones, folks. Now, they're playing a Game of Thrones, but what's incredible to me is, how can you make this mistake? Like, if you're playing to win, how can you make this error? Like, you have to be really stupid people to literally just choose to put yourself in the position of attacking this movie. Not believe me, I'm glad that they have. I mean, not for the sake of the film. I am glad that they are showing us who they are. I had that clip that I showed in one of my last videos. It's Hannibal looking at the guy, Mason Verger. His face he is a pedophile. In the film Hannibal, Mason Verger is a pedophile that Hannibal was treating as a psychiatrist, and he got him high on psychedelics, and he had him basically cut up his face. And so now Verger wants revenge on Hannibal because his face is all mangled and hideous. And he says, "Oh, I bet you'd wish you'd fed me to the dogs now, Hannibal, Dr. Lecter." And Hannibal says, "No, Mason, I much prefer you just the way you are." It's like, well, no, Mr. Bertasky, I prefer you just the way you are. A foaming at the mouth creep who is revealing exactly who he is for all the world to see. The freaking arrogance, the absolute gall. Can you imagine a society in which pedophiles tweet? They tweet their defense of pedophilia? What has happened, folks? What has happened to our... These tweets, that they exist, is insane to me. Like, you would think this guy... That just goes to show you how much protection they have. How much protection. Now, listen, I am no conspiracy theorist. I am not coming to you. I don't like QAnon. I don't read QAnon conspiracies. I'm 50-50 on the things Alex Jones says. I am not. The moon landing was real. It was flat out real. I will fight you for that. I am not a conspiracy theorist, and I am telling you, these people are such lunatics. They're starting to push me in that direction. I am starting to be more open to these arguments about, whatever the secret cults are. It's like I'm getting there. I'm getting there because what else could explain such lunacy? I just don't know. And that was quite the rant. Fu Man Blue says, "Permission to come aboard, Captain," with a $2. Thank you, Fu Man Blue. Permission is granted, sir. You are watching the Captain's Cast, where permission to come aboard is never required, but always granted. And I am your host, Captain Garrett. This is the Swords and Starships Channel. And we are talking about a very non-political film that the crazy woke warriors in our society have chosen to make political, and therefore we find ourselves on the battlefield. We did not choose it, but we will defend our culture. We'll fight them on the beaches anyway. So thank you, Fu Man Blue. I very much appreciate it. YouTube is giving me the little heart emoji thing again. So if you want to put a heart on it, you can. No, we got to keep our chat. We have military decorum. Yep, decorum will be maintained aboard this ship. Star Fury says, "Hi, Fu Man Blue," which is good. I like to see camaraderie among the troops, the crew. Star Fury says, "We now live in the fabled Sodom and Gomorrah." I tend to think that humanity, look, it comes in cycles. I think that what happens is civilizations rise. Sometimes they are founded by good, free people. The early Greeks, the early Romans founded egalitarian societies. And what happened? Time went by. They got fat off the land, and they began to take things for granted. They became decadent. It is eerie, a lot of the parallels between Rome when it became an empire and then eventually started in its decline. And I think we're going through one of those cycles now. And I don't believe it always ends in disaster. Sometimes it ends in a rebirth, a renaissance. The Renaissance. I came from the ashes of medieval feudalism collapsing. Medieval feudalism broke under its own weight when a little thing called the bubonic plague wiped out a third of all the serfs in the land. And what rose out of those ashes was the printing press, printed books, art, literature, the middle class, so to speak. Fu Man Blue says, "Oh, no more hearts." No, there will be no hearts aboard this vessel. No hearts whatsoever. I'm looking at you, Tom. Now, that is my way of saying I am somewhat optimistic about this. I'm somewhat optimistic that humanity, look. During the height of the 80s, during the Cold War, do you know how many nuclear, since Oppenheimer is on all of our minds, do you know how many nuclear weapons were on each side? I believe, and this is off the top of my head, but I'm close on this, give or take a couple thousand. The Ruskies had something like 80,000 nuclear weapons, and we had something like 60 or 70,000. Think about that. Between us, 150,000 nuclear weapons. Two countries pointed at each other. There would have been nothing left, folks. This planet would have been ashes if that had gone off. Now, where are we at right now? Well, right now, where we're sitting, I think it's a positive sign, but since the fall of the Berlin Wall, stockpiles on either sides have dramatically declined. And so right now, what you're looking at is about roughly 7,000 nuclear weapons on, I believe, the Russian side, and something like 5,000 on our side. Now, that is still enough to irradiate the planet and starve pretty much the entire northern hemisphere and wipe out probably a third of all humanity if all those were to be fired. Maybe more. We don't actually know exactly how bad it could be. But if all those went off, it's still enough to end all civilization easily, handily. But that's a dramatic reduction. That is a very dramatic reduction. I mean, we're literally looking at about a tenth of the nuclear stockpile pointed at each other as what we used to have. So in a way, I consider that a flat out miracle. A miracle. If we were absolute knuckle dragging apes that had no chance at ever, overcoming our baser nature, if we couldn't solve these problems like war, violence, poverty, totalitarianism, child trafficking, if we didn't have it in us to solve these problems, I believe we would have nuked ourselves 50 years ago. I believe we would have nuked ourselves 30 years ago. The fact that we've gotten this far without doing it is kind of a stunning human achievement, in my view. Now, the century is young. There's a lot more humanity to go before we, the world's going to spin on for a while longer. So we're not out of the woods. But that is Tom. You, Tom. Damn you, sir. Damn your eye. Damn your impudence, sir. A heart in my chat. A heart. I won't have it, sir. I won't have it. To the grating with him. No, I'm just kidding. Hearts. It's a clown. Star Fury puts a clown in there. Is it? Oh, yeah. All right. Well, your captain appreciates your chat, appreciates your presence, and to all you lurking. And I know that there's so let me check the Rumble. I should, I'm just so. Rumble is hard to use, man. You wouldn't believe how long it took me to figure out getting my stream up on Rumble. I did get it done. Going to my live streaming now. I don't know how to see the chat. That's the problem. How do I see? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Oh, sweet. All right, I'm there. So Gabby is in the chat over on Rumble. Says, when I saw Dead Reckoning, the theater was empty with about 5 to 7 watching. When I saw Sound of Freedom three times, the theater was filled. A big difference. Sound of Freedom cost $15 million. It earned over $100 million. Incredible. Yes. Thank you for the comment. Gabby over on Rumble. Give us a like, a subscribe, a thumbs up. You are watching the Captain's Cast on the Swords and Starships channel. I am your host, Captain Garrett. And to that I say, Gabby, I had exactly the same experience. Well, actually, I would say Dead Reckoning was reasonably full. It was about half full, I would say. And Sound of Freedom, packed. And what's interesting is I'm at a theater that is not usually bustling. I'm at a theater that's not typically packed for anything, quite honestly. Like Indiana Jones was empty. That was dead. And I'll tell you what, it was the most strained laughter I've heard. The laugh lines in that and the dial of death. But it's like we've reached a point in our society I think we reached a conclusion some time ago that it was impolite. It was impolite to discuss morality. It was impolite to say, well, my moral beliefs are. And I can understand the friction. You know, we have differences of opinion. We have differences of opinion on certain things, whether one thing is moral and one thing is not. And we endeavored, we Americans, we citizens of Western civilization, all free societies around the world, we have endeavored to found societies in which neighbors who disagree can live in peace together. And in my view, that model, a citizens' republic, not a pure democracy. I don't believe in pure democracy. It is not, democracy is just another form of tyranny, but a representative republic that is governed under a constitution and the consent of the governed. Those societies endeavor to agree to disagree. We agree to disagree. And I think we took that too far. I think we took that too far. We took that to mean we were not allowed to take a moral stand on anything. And Sound of Freedom to me is a line that has been drawn in the sand. This far, no farther, as Captain Picard said in First Contact. Fu Man Blue is over in the chat on Rumble. The man's incredible. He can be in two places at once. He says, hi, Gabby. Came over from YouTube so you won't get lonely. That's very kind of you, Fu Man Blue. As I was saying, the line has been drawn. And it shouldn't be a line. It shouldn't be a line. But in a way, it's more like an invitation. I consider this movie. It is an invitation to our fellow humans to ask each other, do we agree on anything anymore? Is there one value we have in common at all? Is there one social moral line that we all agree shall not be crossed? Is there one? Certainly, if there's anything on the Bill of Rights, no. Those are all partisan issues now. If you agree to free speech, you are not a leftist. If you disagree with free speech, you are a leftist. That's where we're at. All of our foundational beliefs. Look, my attitude is anybody who doesn't believe in freedom of speech, absolutely. I'm not talking about incitements to violence or things like that. I'm talking about anything that is political, comedic, artistic speech that is not a violation, specifically of someone else's rights. That being like, child pornography, for example, or incitements to violence, that sort of thing. If you do not agree to that proposition, then you don't believe in democracy, you don't believe in freedom, and you are playing a Game of Thrones. And if you are challenging us to a Game of Thrones, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And so that's the deal. I'm happy. I'm happy to lay down my arms. I am happy to lay down my arms and accept an olive branch. And I will look for it every day. But until it appears, I will assume that this is a battle for humanity's soul. And this film is a battle for humanity's soul. And that's going to bring people to the theater, frankly. And what is shocking to me is, I actually expected it to be a touch political. I expected it to be just a touch, not a lot. I was stunned when that movie was over. It's an incredible film. I mean this quite seriously. I'm not talking about the message or the cause or anything, just purely on a filmmaking basis. The acting, the cinematography, the music, the direction, just everything. Brilliant. Story structure, impeccable. It's an impeccable. Look, I could go right through the Blake Snyder beat sheet and give you every beat of this movie. Blake Snyder beat sheet. If you don't know, he is the author of Save the Cat. Let me see if I can get that. Maybe I can just go through the beat sheet right now. Where is it? I might have it in my files. Might have it there. I just, I get grand ideas that I have not prepared for in the stack of stuff. Oh, wait, actually, I think this might serve our purposes. This might serve our purposes. Okay, cool. It's not perfect, but this will do. This will do in a pinch. Okay, let me see if I can share this then. Let me add Stop screen, present. There's screen. And let's try this one. Sweet. Okay, cool. All right, so Blake Snyder is an absolute surgeon when it comes to story structure. And he has basically explained every beat of a story, okay? Every single successful film, and this works for novels too, but for our purposes is basically it's talking about a film. It's a little, you have to tweak it a little bit for novels, but I use this when I'm writing my novels as well. You have an opening image. The opening image of every film is very important, and it is directly complemented by the final image at the end of the film. By the way, this film had excellent. It actually had an identical opening and final image. It was beautiful. It was brilliant. It was pure poetry. Theme stated, right? Theme stated. God's children are not for sale. Theme stated in the first act. Setup of the film. You see Tim Ballard. Okay, well, I don't want to spoil everything, but I'll do like the first act. So you see Tim Ballard. He's hunting down the pedophiles. He's struggling emotionally. He's having to endure just these torturous things. He's on the trail of shutting down, another American crime, and it's one after another. It's whack-a-mole. He keeps knocking them down. They just keep popping up. Catalyst. So the catalyst is an event in the film that propels us into the main action, the main story. He encounters one specific case that really tugs at his heartstrings, and he sees an opportunity to actually save the child and bring him back. And he succeeds, and this causes him to then have the option of potentially saving his sister. That is the catalyst. And then we move into the debate. The debate is, what should a man do who is in his position? Should he give up his whole job? Should he give up his whole life and go and on this quest to save this child? And that's as far as I'll go, because I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen the film yet. But I'm telling you, everything on this, it hits every beat, pitch perfectly. In fact, I would even say the all is lost moment in this film will gut you. It will gut you. It's unreal. The all is lost moment exists in every good film, every single one. And it is the moment when the hero, I would say, let me give you an example. Return of the Jedi. The all is lost moment in Return of the Jedi is when Luke is on the floor and the Emperor is electrocuting him. All is lost. He's lost the fight. He's failed to save his father. The Emperor is about to kill him. That is the all is lost moment in that film. Every film has this. Then, right, you move into the final climactic moments of the film. And also, right at the same time Luke is being electrocuted, we see that Han Solo's been captured by the stormtroopers, and they're going to fail to get the shield down, and all of the rebels are about to be annihilated. So it actually is perfectly in Return of the Jedi. There's actually a perfect all is lost moment across the board. So it's excellently done. So my point is, this film, Sound of Freedom, is not just, it's not a propaganda film. It is an excellent film. And I probably had some other original, brilliant point I was going to make about all of that, but I forgot. So, anywho, Filmman Blue says, we almost nuked ourselves several times, and it's only dumb luck we didn't. And he also said, LMAO, probably at my mention of Tom and his heart in the chat, which the captain will grudgingly allow. Jack says, listening to Dr. Stephen Greer, he said that some ETs have manually shut down for a few missile silos. Let's hope not. Jack says, damn, this is a good model screen cap. Yeah, get the book, Save the Cat. It's absolutely excellent, and it will teach you story structure. And it will teach you, if you are trying to write something and you can't figure out what's missing, this will fix that for you. Right? Because I guarantee you, if there's something not working in your story, it's because you're missing one of those beats. And there's other parts to this too. He diagnoses how to create a character, what the character has to have. In fact, the title of the book, Save the Cat, refers to what every protagonist has to have, which is a save the cat moment, a moment that they do something endearing that makes you like them. Even if they're kind of a bad guy, even if they're kind of an anti-hero, they still have to have a save the cat moment. So that is what that refers to. Star Fury is in the Rumble chat. What? Boo Man Blue says, woot, smash that like. Starfear says, how dare you talk about story structure? You sinner. Recant, you sinner. Okay, I was like, what is that? Yeah, recant, you sinner. No, I will not. I will never cease to talk about story structure. You know, we got on a Jim Caviezel kick. Me and rest of the family, you know, after Sound of Freedom, and they were curious. They were asking me about Jim Caviezel, and I was like, "Oh, I love Jim Caviezel. He's in one of my favorite movies of all time, The Count of Monte Cristo." And oh, what's that? I said, "Oh, you haven't seen The Count of Monte? No, we haven't seen it. Well, let's watch it tonight. We'll watch The Count of Monte Cristo." Frankly, it's a little bit to lighten the mood after watching Sound of Freedom, because that is a tough movie, let me tell you. And well, I just don't want to watch a vampire movie. And I'm like, wait, what? Well, I never watched Count of Monte Cristo, because isn't it some vampire movie? I'm like, no, it's an adventure tale. It's like by the guy who wrote The Three Musketeers, Alexander Dumas. And it's like, and they're like, well, oh, I didn't know that. And it's, you know, it's a great film. Did you know? I just read this. Today that Jim Caviezel, or was it on Benny Johnson's show? Maybe I actually think I heard Jim Caviezel say it himself, now that I think about it, because I was watching him on Benny Johnson earlier today when I should have been working. Well, it was work, because it gave me fodder for the stream. And Jim Caviezel said that when they made the film Count of Monte Cristo, one of my absolute favorite lines in the entire film is, "God will give me justice." I love that line in that film so much. And it's because when Jim Caviezel's character, Dantes, is falsely accused of treason and he's imprisoned in a solitary cell in the Chateau d'If in, you know, it's like just post-Napoleonic France. Speaking of Napoleon, we have something to talk about. In post-Napoleonic France, he is in prison, and on his walls, the last prisoner who used to live there has carved "God will give me justice" into the stones. And so he spends 13 years in this prison just making it deeper, right? Just like digging that engraving a little bit more each year. And it just says, "God will give me justice." And it becomes a theme for the entire film. And it's even more poignant because the man that he meets in prison is a priest. And Dantes has lost his faith in God. In the story, he's lost his faith in God because he's been falsely imprisoned. He's lost his fiancée. His entire life has been taken from him. And so he gives up. He thinks God doesn't exist anymore. And the priest says, well, you know, he says he says something about God in a scene. I forget what it was. And Dantes says, "I don't believe in God." And he says, "That's all right. He believes in you." And so it's a theme. It's a theme in the film that, like, faith that there will be justice for what has happened to him. And the final shot, we were talking about the final image in a film, which is very important. The final image in Count of Monte Cristo is that engraving, "God will give me justice." Well, I tell you that to tell you this. So Jim Caviezel is chatting with old Benny over there on the Benny Johnson show, and he says that Disney, I believe, they owned the rights to that film, which I didn't know that. They owned the overall rights to the Count of Monte Cristo film. And the executives tried to pressure the writers of that film to take out the references to God. They tried to pressure the filmmakers to remove that line, "God will give me justice." Now, I have said many times on this channel, woke writing, not a thing. They're not capable of it. They don't have creativity. They're not, you know, propaganda storytelling is garbage storytelling. You can't tell a good story. It's why woke storytelling sucks, because all you care about is your propaganda and your sick worldview. You don't care about story structure or anything. I would watch Count of Monte Cristo back in my hardcore atheist days, and I still love that line. As an atheist, I loved that line, "God will give me justice," because it's not just about God. I mean, that's part of it, but it's the belief of the character. It's the character and his loss of, you know, it's about faith in general, faith in himself, faith that there's goodness in the world still, that there's something worth living for, all those things, you know, and the short-sightedness of these people, like, "No, get God out of it. Yeah, gross." It's like, this is why everything Disney does is garbage. It's why their films fail. It's why they suck. It's why Sound of Freedom has defeated Dial of Destiny. Insidious, The Red Door, And Mission Impossible 7, clean sweep, defeated them all. And even defeated Independence on Independence Day. Defeated the Dial of Destiny on Independence Day. How is that possible? You know, and I just think, can you imagine if those idiots had been able to remove one of the best lines in the Count of Monte Cristo? Oh, yeah. No wonder we have garbage. No wonder we have garbage. Can you just imagine what they've done to all the Marvel scripts they've gotten in the last few years? Oh my God. They have probably stripped so many good writing ideas out of all those movies. Can you even imagine how many good writing ideas they have probably stripped out of Doctor Strange Mom and Thor Love and Thunder? They probably saw things that would have been actually good, and they're like, no, we got to get rid of that. We got to get rid of that. That's undermining strong female women. That one's patriarchal. That one's too much. There's too much whiteness in that one. We got to get rid of that. Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Okay, shall we shift gears just a skosh? What else do I have in the stack of stuff? I have so much for you, my dear friends. And then Fu Man Blue says, Jim was on Jordan's podcast and the guy he portrayed, Tim Ballard. Yes, Tim Ballard. And, you know, something I will say, you know, we have a bit of a problem in our society right now with our federal agencies, I would say. They have become rather destructive of civil liberties. That being said, the existence of a former, I believe, CIA agent and Homeland Security agent, Tim Ballard, is a reminder that there are good people in these organizations, and we must not forget that they exist. We must not forget that we do need people like this to protect civilization and to protect the innocent from these things. And if we can just restore our institutions to what they should be, perhaps we can reclaim that quest from the forces of darkness. And this film, Sound of Freedom, is a good step towards that. Unfortunately, there are things in the world that should not exist, but which do. And I am going to show you now one of those things. Close tabs to the right. I regret, my dear sailors and Starnuts, that I must show you this. Because, you know, I am a Star Trek fan. And, you know, there is a brand of Trekkie that seems to think, well, they're not really Trekkies, to be honest with you. But let's just say there are those who seem to think that Star Trek Strange New Worlds is Alex Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman writing the ship. And I have not watched more than the first episode of Strange New Worlds because it is garbage. It is like all of Kurtzman Trek. It is glossy garbage. It is glossy, way too glossy garbage, quite frankly. And this little clip has done nothing to disabuse me of that opinion. All right, I guess here we go. What even is this? Like, what in the hell is this? That is Spock. Oh, did I not share? I'm sorry. Did I? Okay. Oh, the full screen. It wouldn't let me with the full screen. Okay, let me try again. You probably heard it though, so that's no good. All right, share a screen. I'm learning StreamYards. Okay, just get the lay off of me, as Chris Farley would say. All right, now I believe I can see everything. Okay, good. All right, here we go. My God. I mean, the people running Star Trek. Uh, it's unreal. It's they are social media managers that are writing this garbage. They're like, oh, we need a TikTok video with Spock in it. He's eating bacon. It's like the absolute contempt that they have for Star Trek. I am sorry. You know, I've seen comments on some of my videos about, oh, you don't understand Star Trek. Screw you. And I'm like, dude, let me explain something to you. If that shit is interesting to you, you don't understand Star Trek. You have no appreciation for what the original series was, Next Generation was, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, even my beloved Star Trek Enterprise. You have no understanding of what any of those shows were. If you think that, because let me point out, and look, let me just put on my Star Trek glasses here. Well, you see, Vulcans are vegetarians and would never eat animal product because they morally object to it. They no longer believe in enslaving animals for food. So, yeah, so that's one thing. That is one thing you got wrong. So, right off the bat, like, you know, seriously though, there's like this whole scene in Star Trek Enterprise when T'Pol, who's a Vulcan, is eating with Archer, and she's kind of like irritated that him and Tucker are having a steak, and she's like, you know, your species claims to be enlightened, and yet you still consume animal flesh for sustenance. You know, and it's like that. Now, why do I harp? Is it because I love vegetarians or something? No, my point is it's their character. It's the personality of their species. And it wasn't just that was a thing. It was that, like, it had to do with their culture. They had evolved to embrace logic. And in their logic, it didn't make sense to kill creatures to survive. And, you know, and so the idea that, look, and now I could already hear, well, but you don't understand. There was a contextual reason. He was under the influence of a drug at the time because of an alien mind control. And so he was trying bacon, and that was why. You're just being angry on the internet for no reason. It's like, no, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what the context is. I don't care if it's not even in the show and it's just a promotional thing. I don't care. There's no excuse for this garbage. This is supposed to be Spock. Spock. Do you know what Spock's role on the ship was? If you watch Modern Trek, you sure as fuck don't. You sure as fuck don't. His role on the original series was the chief science officer. Science officer. He was the voice of logic, reason, and enlightenment. The idea that he's sitting there just, oh, it's bacon. Oh, it's so good. Just the disrespect, the disrespect of everything, not just like wrapped up in that clip. Why am I so obsessed with this right now? Because that clip encapsulates everything, every level of what's wrong with Kurtzman Trek. It's glossy garbage, right? It's like everything looks pretty, oh, the nice uniforms and everything, but there's no sense of reality to it. Nothing about it feels authentic. It feels like a Twitter post to me. That show feels like Instagram fodder. Like it feels like the kind of cloying, just saccharine, like images of space you get from like a teenage girl's poster of space is what those shows look like to me. They're glossy garbage. Then you have the intellectual level of it. It's like they think that they think levity and comedy between characters is big, dumb, stupid jokes that undermine all the tension in every scene. They, flashy, like childlike humor that is just supposed to grab your attention. Like that's what they think it is. And I actually think a lot of that comes, MCU humor, for example, which is what it was infected everything. I used to say the Game of Thronesing of everything. Now we've got the MCU humoring of everything. And the idiocy of this is that Star Trek has always been funny. Star Trek was always funny. Every single series has little moments of comedy and levity between the characters all the time. But you know where it comes from? It comes from the fact that these characters are all larger than life. They're all very different and they conflict with each other. The whole thing about like McCoy. Oh, why you green-blooded, don't you have any feelings at all? And it's like that's where the comedy comes from. McCoy is he's a hot-headed, moralizing doctor. Spock is a very cool, calm, collected intellectual. And so they naturally rib each other, and they naturally have friction. That's where the comedy comes from. It comes from a genuine place. These idiots think it comes from bacon. Morons. All of them. What's the next level? They undermine Spock's character. He's a joke. They don't understand the character. They don't understand Pike's character. They don't understand what made Spock such a powerful character in the first place. He wasn't there to try bacon with Captain Kirk. Okay. He was on that ship to be a moral advisor, to help the captain suss out explanations to important interstellar phenomenon that on which the fate of the entire Federation and the lives of the crew could depend. He was an officer. This character is a joke. This character is a child. And by the way, I despise this actor in the role. He wasn't terrible the first time I saw him in Discovery. It's like the more I see him, I'm like, this actor just, God, he's awful. Nails on a chalkboard, this guy. So it's just every level. It's just every single level of what they think. This is how officers behave. I mean, come on. You know what? Benjamin Sisko. I love the character of Benjamin Sisko. And one of my favorite things about the character of Benjamin Sisko is he's a chef. He's a cook. His father is a chef who runs a restaurant on Earth, which is also kind of a family heritage thing I really liked. And so, like his father, Sisko is a cook. And he's very passionate about it. And he's also very controlling about it. He has kind of like an obsessive, he won't let anyone touch his spices. I like that. I like that quality. And so there were lots of great scenes in Deep Space Nine in which there was comedy that was naturally emerging from the fact that he's the cook and nobody else is. And it was never like that. It was never like some stupid TikTok video. It was, I'm a man, this is my kitchen. It was like, don't touch that, don't touch the sauce, you'll ruin it. It's like, I like that. They were adults. They were adults. Fortunately, my dear sailors and starnauts, I have an answer to this problem. I have an answer, and I have been working diligently on it. You want to see it? Your captain is also an Iron Age creator, and I have been working on my own science fiction space opera universe that will restore adulthood to science fiction. Thank you very much. And I call it Galaxyborn. And let me just skip to the landing page here. This is www.galaxyborn.com, linked in the description. There it is. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but all right, so there you have it. So there's going to be, dastardly aliens, an awesome ship. That is original artwork, by the way, that I commissioned. So that is canon ship design there. And aliens, licensed art. These are our allies. This is one of our enemies, the Rokoi, but that some of them are, some of them aren't. They're kind of like the Klingons, so to speak. They're sort of analogous to the Klingons. So yes, we are working on new things. We are working on it. So take heart. But I just had to share with you some of that cringe because my God. I mean, bacon. Spock. Boobad Blue says he wasn't there to try bacon. Too funny. He wasn't there to Star Fury. I can't read that. He says, be naughty to all the writers in Hollywood. He says, be mean to them. That is what I'm going to say. He says, be mean to them. No, look. I have no problem with bad writers. I don't. Look, they'll always exist. They have to. If you didn't know a bad writer, you wouldn't know a good one. And so the bad writers, but look, I'm not rooting for anyone to be a bad writer. And I have no, and look, it's not even a question of is it good or bad. Sometimes it's just not for me. Like Barbie, I could go watch Barbie and review it for you, but honestly, that's not even fair. That's not a movie I'd ever watch for any reason ever. So I ain't going to see it. It turns out apparently I hear it is a radical feminist rag, that whole movie. And so it's like you almost kind of wonder, like if they just did it like Super Mario Brothers and it was just fan service, it'd make $1 billion. It would just make $1 billion. Maybe it still will. I don't know. But I just feel like, but they just can't help themselves. But anyway. So I'm fine. I'm fine with Barbie existing. I'm fine with radical feminists writing all their stories. What I object to, my dear sailors and star nuts, my objection is to the lying media falsely reporting success where it doesn't exist, gaslighting and lying about the fan base and creating division and hatred between people that does not have to exist. The fact that the fact that speech itself is being suppressed to protect these companies. That is what I object to. I don't, if it were just a flat look, take Sound of Freedom, for example. Imagine if we lived in a world in which Sound of Freedom was released. Some people went to see it. Mostly Christians were talking about it because it was something that tended to interest them. The movie began to succeed, and the media reported, oh, wow, here's this independent movie. It made $100 million, and it's about an important message. Wow, this is impressive. Imagine, and then people said, oh, what is that movie? Let me go see it. And then they said, Indiana Jones 5. I just watched this movie, and, maybe a better example would be, because pretty much they all bagged on that one. What's one of the ones that they propped up? Like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Imagine if they just honestly reported on it, and they just said, well, this movie has a lot of problems. It's very bloated, killing off Chadwick Boseman and turning the whole movie into a funeral form when they would have never done that to any of the other legacy characters is weird. And it's probably going to make the movie fail. And then the movie fails and they're like, oh yeah, well, those are the reasons why. If that was the world we lived in, I'm fine with it. We all get our say. We can all write our stories. And look, if something woke comes out, like I even said it, American Horror Story. It's woke as hell. It's pretty successful most of the time, I think. I haven't checked in on it in a while. I like some of the seasons. I'm fine with that. Listen, it is us that are on I'm just going to say the liberal, let's just say the liberal all the way to radical right. Most of us are pretty much okay with, engaging with content that is created by people who disagree with us. In fact, most of the time, normal people find that interesting and delightful and engaging and like to have a little bit of a debate in their head about different issues. I like this Oppenheimer thing. There's going to be this whole thing about McCarthyism in it. I'm here for it. I'm interested. If it's a nuanced and interesting debate, I am open to hearing the kind of, if it's a liberal progressive take, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with it. If a movie that has a message I hate succeeds because people genuinely liked it, oh God, can I find an example of this? No, there's got to be one. Something that people inexplicably like that I think is one of the biggest pieces of trash ever. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Perfect example. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So many people love that movie. It is garbage. That movie is trash. I hated it. I wanted to leave the theater. It's one of the worst films of the year for me, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I'm no disrespect to anyone who likes it. I don't understand why. I don't understand why anyone likes that movie. The plot was a mess. A total. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to get on. My point is, I'm fine with that though. If people went to the theater, they saw Guardians, they liked Groot, they thought that the raccoon storyline was good, Rocket Raccoon, that was really powerful and emotional. I found it weird, but if people liked it, I'm okay with that. If it's honest, if it is honest and fairly earned, I am okay with it. I'm going to critique it. I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm okay with it. So that's my long way of saying, Star Fury. That's my long way of saying I slightly disagree with your, shall we say, proposal. Fu Man Blue said, what happened? Fu Man Blue says, I tried to promote Swords and Starships book and YouTube censored me. Seriously? I mean, really? What did I do? It's not even political or anything. I mean, I run the ads on YouTube. I'm not really running them now. It's just not working out, but it wasn't there. I mean, organic marketing is going to be a better route until I have more content to deliver. So I'm actually working on that first, as I mentioned, next month. I'm going to drop the first episode of Galaxy Born. So you'll be able to read it. And I'm even going to narrate it. I'm going to do an audiobook version so you can listen to it in these very dulcet tones of your captain. So we will talk more about that. Is crazy though. They're censoring it. So like when you try and put it in the chat or something, maybe it's like it's worried about spam because it's a link or something. Anyway. Star Fury. For them now. Speaking of the writers in Hollywood, we could offer each of them a pistol with one shell in the cylinder and offer them the choice. Oh no. No. Look, I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I want everybody to have their say. I just want honesty. I mean, I'm saying liars can be liars. I'm just saying I want an honest playing field. Let that which is good succeed on its merits. Let that which is delightfully bad succeed on its merits. I'm fine with that. I got no issue with that. And if I write the great American novel and nobody thinks it's good, well, I guess nobody thinks it's good. It's going to be great, though. It's going to be good. Fu Man Blue says, if you want to be cool like me, then get your copy. Order today. Thank you, Fu Man Blue. Awesome. I seriously appreciate it. I really do. And Star Fury says, Swords and Starships, will you offer a PDF ebook package only? Well, let me think about that, actually. I probably could. I could do that. I know I priced it at kind of it's meant to be sort of a campaign, right? So the idea is, my goal is actually to kind of build some momentum and use that to fund greater efforts. But yes, I will consider that. Let me think about that, and maybe I can add that as like a price tier for just the ebook, and yours truly reading it. Yeah, great call. Reading your own book. Well, I'm not as good at voices as people think I am. I'm really not. I would rather have professionals do it, but we gotta work with what we have. So I will. I'm gonna do my best. I will do my best. There's a lot of characters though, and that's a lot of different voices. What I'd love to do is have an audiobook with a fully voiced cast. I already know kind of how I want to go about it, so I'm working on that in the background. Plans are in work, but essentially there'd be maybe 4 or 5 actors, and men and women, so I can have male and female voices. That would be nice. Maybe throw in a non-binary voice just for fun. I'm just kidding. That's not a thing. It's not real. Doesn't exist. That is a fantasy. What else? What else is in the stack of stuff? Just did my own shameless plugging of my own book. And hey, I could talk, hey, at least it's not 3 hours of coffee brand coffee. Just kidding, Jeremy. I'm drinking it right now. Can I just say something about the quartering? Can I feel a little bit of insider baseball for YouTube junkies like myself? The quartering. That guy is the best ad reader I have ever seen on YouTube. Let me tell you why. Because, most people that are going to read an ad, like, Ben Shapiro is probably the worst. He just immediately, I haven't listened to him in a long time, but, he just goes right to, and it's terrible. We're literally facing nuclear war, and this is terrible. But first, Birch Gold. And he just goes into like this, and okay, yeah, I could skip here. The quartering, he is stealthy. He figures out that like his audience has figured out when to like skip things. And so he'll just be like, yeah, and then this article. And he's like, and that's what they had to say. which is why it's really important that I talk about, League Shadow Legends. And then suddenly, and you're like, and like 1 minute goes by, and I'm like, wait, I'm listening to him do an ad read on League Shadow Legends, and I didn't even realize it. And I'm like, damn, he's really good at this. So anyway, I aspire. I aspire to such talented chivalry. Let me show you something I stumbled across, totally apropos of nothing. I just got dumb lucky and I just stumbled across it. And oh my God, did I just get like a serious... no, there's no good way for that sentence to end. There's no good way for it to end. Abort mission. Abort mission. What I meant was, did I just get a history boner? Just a big history boner. And that is the most unappealing thing I've ever said on a stream, and I regret it immediately. But we're doing it live. We're doing it actually. You know what? I saw this on someone else's stream, and maybe we'll do the Bill O'Reilly and Christian Bale just for fun, because that's like my favorite thing ever. But anyway, it turns out that they are making a movie about Napoleon. And I had not heard about this. And this is the Swords and Starships Channel. And we like talking about history. And of course, Napoleon, that is definitely in the swords category. So I have not seen this trailer. I have no idea what's in it. So let's roll it. Oh, it's an Apple film. Damn it. Oh, I thought this was going to be in theaters. Well, now I'm disappointed, but here we go. Well, Napoleon, played by Joaquin Phoenix, looks inspired. But this trailer, why is there this kind of like rock band style music to this trailer? This is 17 freaking 93. This is off-putting to me. This is off-putting. I have not seen this, so I was excited to see this. So yeah, Fu Man. No, it's not made by Netflix. Fu Man Blue. Fu Man Blue says Napoleon will be a 7-foot tall black man, right? Like, no, that's on Netflix. That's the Netflix version, sir. You're incorrect. It occurs to me there's maybe a better way to share this, and I am being remiss. Let me see if yeah, there we go. Let me do that. It's Ridley Scott. That's interesting. Dang it. That music is going to kill me. God, the music in this trailer is, A, it's making it hard to play it because of the copyright issue, but B, it's really off-putting. It's really ruining this for me. Oh no. Those were ships of the line, those were. Ahoy there. Ahoy. Ships of the line. Oh dear. That's going to be rad. Oh. Sorry. I'm sorry, folks. I just can't. I can't do the music more than like a few seconds at a time. Being transformative. Being transformative. Oh boy. That is not. This is like a freaking heavy metal over the top version of Napoleon. It's like Napoleon is a rock star. You know what? It's almost like that movie A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger, where they're turning it into a rock and roll movie. It's like, dude, Why can't you just recreate what happened? Let me make sure I'm not getting like any warnings here. So far, so good. Being transformative. Girl bossery. Oh, that's a rad line. I mean, he looks great in the part. I don't know. What do you think, Chad? What do you think? Is that a winner? Boo Man Blue says, I bet it's great, Swords and Starships. Oh, that's probably about yours truly's novel. Starfear says, doesn't matter about the music. We can't hear it. What? Dang it. Oh, no. Okay, you guys couldn't hear anything? Dang it. I got to figure that out. All right. Let me see here. I got to figure out the audio situation on those then. Well, that sucks because I had other things to play. No. Let me switch to. Oh, that's great. Just got to see the stack of stuff. It's not, it's, you know, very bad form for a showman. It's very bad form. I was going to play the Wonka trailer, but I played that on the. Okay, yes, I forgot. But the captain was in port for repairs last weekend, and I apologize for that. I meant to apologize for that. I had to cancel the stream because I was having really weird technical difficulties, honestly. And but I was playing the Wonka trailer on that previous stream, and I'm telling you, it's a no. It's a straight up no. Like I don't even want to look at the trailer. It's creeping me out. It's like a fever dream. And I'll tell you what it is too. It's like, you know, the whole point of Willy Wonka's factory is that it's the strange world, right? It's the strange world that you are entering, and the whole point of Charlie is that he is of the normal world. He is of the ordinary, mundane world, and he is entering a magical world when he goes into the Wonka factory. This new Wonka thing, everything in it is total fantasy. It's worse than like it's more fanciful than even like a Tim Burton kind of thing. So there's all kinds of, it's like if someone turned Candyland into a movie. It's like, who cares? So no, it's weird. It's the wrong tone. It's the wrong approach. Why do people like this character? I don't even understand. Why are we still making movies about Wonka? Can someone explain this to me? What is this? This is like Willow to me. Like who asked for this? Who wants this? Okay, Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder was a classic film. We all enjoyed it. It was based on a novel that was successful. Okay, why is there a need for another one? I don't understand the obsession that filmmakers have with this character. I really don't. It's a weird thing to me. I have no explanation. Then we had the Blue Beetle trailer. That's kind of lame. So we couldn't hear anything, right? Yeah. All right. I'm going to try and play something else and just let me know if you can hear it. I could try. Let me try audio. Settings. Audio. maybe when you do share screen, stop screen, share screen, some screens let you share audio. Look for the share audio. reading the tutorial to my poor audience. Look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. Follow these steps to share a video with audio. Oh, great. Share tab audio. Okay, cool. No, you should be able to hear this. If I do it in Chrome, is what it's looking like. Yes, if I did the entire screen. So I have to do it as a Chrome tab. Have to do it as a Chrome tab, which is annoying because then I can't monitor the stream at the same time. I have to figure that out. So we're working out some of the kinks, but I wanted to do this on StreamYards. I have to get this on StreamYards because I want to be able to have guests. I want to be able to do more things. By the way, your captain is planning to start doing gaming streams on Kick and on this channel and on Rumble. And so here's what I'm thinking. And Star Fury, Fu Man Blue, Silverback, Tom, anyone else in the chat, I want your opinion. I'm thinking I want to do, it's going to be a console, okay? I don't have a PC that's capable of, the finer things, all right? But I'm going to do a console, and I'm either going to do Nintendo Switch with like Tears of the Kingdom, or I was kind of thinking of Samus, the new Metroid game looks pretty rad, and some Super Smash Brothers, or I really want to do Final Fantasy 16. So what do you think I should do? Should I do Final Fantasy 16 or should I do Nintendo Switch with Tears of the Kingdom? Star Fury says bolt gun. No, I told you this, Star Fury. There's no bolt guns. He doesn't get it. Actually, Star Fury, if you can recommend a good Warhammer 40K game, I would be open. I would be open to considerations. Jack says it's easier to make another lame Willy Wonka sequel than to try to make something original and creative. These mooks aren't filmmakers. They're film manufacturers. Fu Man Blue says Switch. Oh, yeah, because I almost forgot. Like, one of the things I'd like to be able to do is play games with you. So, like, viewers of the chat, we can actually, if someone wants to play Smash Brothers with me, I'm going to be super rusty, so probably be super easy to beat. Starfury says, there is a game called Bolt Gun. Oh, I thought you meant like literally like the bolter in 40K. Oh, that's shows what I know. As you can see, I haven't had much time for gaming lately. Okay, well, in that case, then I am going to do this tab in another browser that can actually play sound. Which one do we want to say? Oh, yes, okay. I think we should watch this trailer because your captain came across this one. All right, here we go. Sharing screen right now. Okay, here we go. Cool. Theater mode. All right, this is for a film called Godzilla Cheese. No, Godzilla -1 official trailer.
Godzilla -1.
Holy shit. Jeez. Holy shit. Oh my God.
Godzilla -1.
They ain't fucking around with this one, folks. They are not fucking around with this one. Oh my God. It's like, now that's how I like my Godzilla. Violent and terrifying. It's just like, he's a force of nature He's just a storm sweeping through. Dude, I think Godzilla 1985 is like my favorite one. He's just the bad guy. He just shows up, levels Tokyo, just levels it. Nothing you can do to stop him. You just run, just freaking run. That's all you can do. That's Godzilla to me. Like, that is classic Godzilla. That's looking pretty rad. Big monsters destroying stuff, says Star Fury. What's not to love? I mean, what isn't? You know, I actually really liked Kong Skull Island. I have got to tell you, I loved that movie. And I admired the Peter Jackson Kong movie, and it was pretty good. I felt it was pretty long, pretty ponderous. There's a lot to love about it. It was a good film. It was a good film. Kong Skull Island was a good King Kong movie. Like, that was just rad. Dude, all the spiders with the stilt legs. Just, oh my God, that was one of those horrifying things I've ever seen. I quite enjoy the way they connect the lore in the kaiju universe. I think it's pretty clever. And that is the most interesting, that the human characters were in a kaiju film I've seen so far. And all the other ones, for whatever reason, it just doesn't even matter what actors they get. You know, they go and get the actress who plays Eleven from Stranger Things. What's her name? Forget. And then they go and get Bryan Cranston. And it's like, it doesn't make up. Oh, they go and get Chandler Riggs. And I'm like, dude, but there's too many characters in those movies. There's too many. Like, just make it a movie about Chandler Riggs trying to save his family, or make it a movie about Eleven trying to survive. You know, just that would be fine. But they want to just pack it and stuff it with all these different characters. And it gets leadened. But I will say Kong versus Godzilla wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Again, the problem was too many characters, too much MCU humor. The MCU humor has gotten into that too. You know, the whole thing with what's her name storming the base, fighting the bad guys in the Mecha Godzilla base was super annoying. There was just so much Marvel Cinematic Universe humor in that all the time, and it was driving me crazy. They had to have the nerdy geek who's always making a joke all the time. I'm like, I'm so over it. But the actual story of Kong fighting Godzilla was pretty damn good, I have to say. I mean, I also was like, how can you make this interesting? How can you make an interesting narrative around, you know, giant lizard fights giant ape? Like, how can that be a story that's going to be kind of like moving and it was, though. It was the idea of like Godzilla represents Earth and Kong also represents Earth, and there can only be one king, and so they have to fight each other. But then the alien Ghidorah, King Ghidorah, who is now inhabiting the Mecha Godzilla, he's a foreign body that has invaded Earth, and they have to fight him. And that is a super cool concept. I really like that. I do. But Kong Skull Island is probably the best one because, you know, they actually had just almost all the characters are pretty interesting in that, I have to say. All right, we are going to take just a short break while, now let me see here. And it's gonna, no, I didn't get all my videos loaded, okay? So I'm just going to have to give you this one while we take a short break. So I will be right back. And we are back. Captain has resumed his post. Now, about this Napoleon film, you know, it's really fun actually to see these things for the first time on the stream, because this is my honest first take on this. Is like I saw the poster for it and I thought, awesome, must see. And then I watched that trailer and I'm like, you just killed it for me. It looks and maybe it's just a bad trailer. You know, to be fair, maybe it is Ridley Scott, it is Joaquin Phoenix. Maybe the film is very like, you know, done well, historical, grounded, and it's just that the trailer is just, for whatever reason, bonkers. I don't even know why. All this weird music they're playing, and it's all like this, like, I don't know, like they got to make it all exciting. Oh, they're like, well, Americans don't like things that are about history because Americans are stupid. And okay, and because they're stupid, we have to put lots of exciting rock and roll music or they won't understand. You know, it's like they will only understand if they see muskets, they're not going to like it. So maybe if they're seeing muskets, but they're also hearing like rock music or like Bono or something, then they'll be tricked into watching it. Like, this is what they think of us. It's like, no, we can't have a sweeping musical score. We can't have quiet scenes about him contemplating the meaning of being the emperor. Like, has he betrayed the revolution by becoming the very thing that they sought to overthrow? No, we can't have any of that. We can't have sober, like critique of the character of the man. We can't have like a sort of we can't see him as a complicated figure. All we see in that whole trailer is basically Napoleon, action hero. You want to know the worst line in that movie? Worst line. Oh, what is your name? Napoleon. Yeah, he's practically just gazing at the camera when he says it. He's like, Napoleon. She's like, you have just changed the course of my life because you're Napoleon. It's just, you know, it's just like in Star Trek Into Darkness, you know, when Kirk is like, who the hell are you? To Benedict Cumberbatch, you know, is playing my name is Khan. And they're like, who? They're like, do we know each other? It's like, you remember last year at the party, Khan, you know, to sing, no, just no, it's like life insurance, right? Yeah. No, it's actually securities. Oh yeah. Oh, how are you? How the hell are you? Just the way you said Khan, I don't know. Like, that's so we know who Khan is, but Kirk doesn't know who Khan is. But the movie's so stupid that it's like, no, Khan knows that he's Khan. It's like, that's exactly what that line is to be. My name is Napoleon Bonaparte, Emperor. Here's my card. Stupid. Tom, you want to see this movie? I know you probably want to see it. I don't want to see it. Apple Plus, they've ruined it. This is Ridley Scott work from home filmmaking. That Captain's prediction, I am predicting it. Your Captain Garrett hereby predicts that Napoleon is going to be work from home filmmaking by Joaquin Phoenix, work from home acting, and it's going to be work from home directing from Ridley Scott. It is going to be time to cash a paycheck from a streaming service. That is what that movie is going to be. It's going to be garbage. It's going to be cheap historical light is what that's going to be. And of course, you know, any idiots that think that the way you market a historical epic about one of the most powerful, one of the most interesting, one of the most complex, one controversial figures in all of human history, and their take on it is freaking rock and roll music and a bunch of, you know what it looks like? It looks like blood. It looks like Witcher Blood Origin. It's like Witcher Blood Origin does Napoleon. Could be wrong. Could be the trailer. Could just be it's a really damn awful trailer and it does not do the film justice. That is always possible. Tom says, it's been a while since Ridley impressed me. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. Ridley Scott, maybe he was just a flash in the pan. But his work is garbage lately. Like none of the new Alien stuff, the Prometheus, Alien Covenant, I don't like any of it. It's just the Prometheus was a train wreck. That movie was so disappointing. I can't even tell you, because I went to that theater when that movie came out. I wasn't running a channel back then. I went to see it because I wanted to see a film. I sit down, and the way that film starts is amazing. Like, it's just beautiful score. You're just like flying over these mountains. It's ancient Earth. This primordial alien is dropping something in the waters, and you're like, oh. And then you have Guy Pearce shows up, one of my favorite all-time actors, and you have Guy Pearce, and he's playing this sort of interesting and mysterious, greedy and grasping tycoon, but he's so lonely and isolated in his sterile, wealthy, opulent environment. And he's waxing philosophical about the nature of consciousness and mortality. And these scientists, these plucky little scientists, are going on a mission to discover the origins of Earth and our species. And they're going to go to another planet. And then the rest of the movie happens. And it's an absolute mess. They land on this dirt rock. There's nothing there. Nothing in the plot makes sense from that point. There's a bunch of stuff with guys in some black goo playing with snakes that are looking very mean. And I don't know why that is. And it's not good. It's very inappropriate. It's a very bad movie. And the aliens, it's like, it's Alien, but not Alien. It's like, just give us an alien. And then you know what happened? Then Ridley Scott makes Covenant, and he gives us the alien. And we're like, nah, it's still not. It's still not. It's just not. It's not. Okay. I'm sorry to report to you that, that was one of the great disappointments for me, because that movie was looking so good. I was so excited about it. The promise of the premise. That is another great quote that Blake Snyder, every story must fulfill the promise of the premise. This is why endings are hard to write, because every story, even the bad ones, have a premise. The premise is, in Prometheus, we are going to the far reaches of the galaxy, the farthest any human has ever traveled, and we are going to meet aliens and discover the origins of our species. That is an amazing premise. It's so vast. The scale is so incredible. There's so many questions. There's so much curiosity. What will that world look like? What will they say when we talk to them? There's so much going on in that premise. And what do we get? Alien snakes. And a weird, not alien-looking alien baby. Not cool, man. Star Fury says, why did they run straight when the ship was falling on? I know. I know. That Star Fury would be referring to, let me see if I can find this for you. Let's see here. Keyboard activated. Query. Prometheus. Fleeing from crashing ship scene. Entering. There it is. There it is. No, let's not. Jeez. Someone tell me how to delete views and stream it. I don't want this view in my list, okay? But yeah, yes, well, there we go. That's better. That's better. That's the view I actually like. I like that one a lot. All right, here we go. This one looks promising.
On the first day, I did $12,000, and that was like, wow.
I'm sorry.
That was cool. They got to the.
There we go.
Impact imminent.
Let's see. Let's just find the spot where she's running from it, shall we? Is it in there? I don't think I have it in this clip. Oh, no, here we go. Maybe this is it. Yeah, I think I found it. Here we go. Yeah, so we have a ship falling. It's falling on us. We got to get away from this thing. Oh, my God. It's a vertical, circular object. We better run in a straight line from it. Look at this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Star Fury. Run to the left or the right. Either direction will do. But no. Look at this. So let me get this straight. These geniuses, these brainlets, these are scientists, by the way. They're scientists. She is running in a straight line from this thing that is basically effectively a giant wheel, and it's running. It's rolling towards her. When she falls down and it's about to crush her, she then just rolls to the left and easily avoids it. She had to fall down and then I could just do this then. Look at this. This movie is garbage, folks. I hear people defend it sometimes. There it is. Oh my god. Oh no! Just roll to the left. Oh, there it is. Poetry, folks. That is cinema. Have you ever, Ridley Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, your captain. It's got to get better at this. Okay. Oh, you know what I could do? I could just stay in that layout. And then when I do that, bam, there it is. He's Fu Man Blue. What do we got here? Starfury says, I want my nihilism reflected in my media. Fu Man Blue says, I got to get up, so don't say anything funny or interesting for a few minutes. LOL, dork. Starfury says, boys room, break for everyone. Who the hell doesn't love muskets? Have you ever seen how much damage a musket ball can do to someone? Dude, it's like a slug. It is like basically a shotgun slug. You know, like, yeah, dude, I think that would be way worse than like a modern day pistol. Way worse to get hit with a musket ball. Yes. So Starfury, 90 degrees, for Pete's sake, they couldn't science their way out of a wet paper bag. I agree with you, Starfury. And so, yes, Ridley Scott is going to now take on Napoleon. And I regret to inform you, it is going to end in disaster, I predict. Let's just, we are on a, I love how Fu Man Blue asked your dear captain to not say something interesting for 10 minutes so that he could get away from the stream. And, that wounds me, sir. That wounds me. You don't know how difficult it is for me to go even a minute without saying something interesting. Just ask anyone who knows me. I have nothing if not the gift of gab, and I can't turn it off. I just can't. So it's just very difficult. I will do my best on this channel, Swords and Starships Captain's Cast. Please like and subscribe. I will do my best to accommodate any and all requests of the crew. But the request to not say something interesting for a few minutes, that is a tough one. I will have to work overtime. Now, shall we take a look at another trailer? And look, I do not need to torture you.
See, I'm something of a
magician,
inventor, and chocolate maker. So quiet up and listen down. Nope.
Okay, is that... Jesus. Is that a line from the book? I feel like, I'm going to say that's the dumbest line I've ever heard. And someone's going to go, well, that was in the book. Then I'm never reading it. Okay? If that was a line in the book, it's overrated. But even if it's in the book, I don't think it was delivered with quite that level of we haven't even scratched the surface of this one.
Scratch that. Reverse it.
Mr. Wonker, I can see you're a man of great ingenuity.
What are you doing?
I'm making chocolate, of course. How do you like it? Dark, white, nutty, absolutely insane.
Many people have come here to sell chocolate. They've all been crushed by the chocolate cartel. You can't get a shop without selling chocolate, and you can't sell chocolate without a shop.
No daydreaming.
What are we gonna do, Willie?
Nope. This is like Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania to me. This is just, what is this? Like, what even is this? No daydreaming. See, this is my problem with it. Willy Wonka is a story about an ordinary boy entering the magical world of Willy Wonka's factory. You can't have a magical world if the whole story is taking place in a totally fake, phony, like Dr. Seuss kind of magical fever dream. It ruins the entire premise of the story.
Huh.
Huh?
Huh.
A double huh.
Do you have a pencil and paper?
This is some
I got an
serious
idea.
overacting.
I know things haven't been easy for you. They're gonna get better.
You promise?
I pinky promise. That's the most solemn vow there is.
Where do we start?
A good chocolate chip is simple.
Yes, we've, I can't help but notice, we've replaced the role of Charlie in this tale. I know it's supposed to be a prequel, but you know.
Where's this? It's just weird. What's happening? Who wants a chocolate that makes you fly? Let's find out, shall we? Who's for a hammer job?
Nothing to see here. Just a small group of people defying the laws of gravity.
Oh my God. They're even putting stupid MCU humor in this, for God's sakes. They can't even take their own bullshit seriously. Who made this? Why? Why did you make this? Who wanted this? I can't even believe this.
Ladies and gentlemen of the gallery gourmet, my name is Willy Wonka.
He's good. Too good.
Oh, jeez.
Pretty sure I've gained about 150 pounds in the last 2 weeks.
They're doing that trope where like they're over dramatizing the classic theme. You remember the da na 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 na, you know, from the much better, well, better, it's not even the actually good film with Gene Wilder in it, Willy Wonka. They're using that theme, but they're making it super drawn out and super deep and serious. It's like every trailer does this now. It's a member berry trick.
You could change her life, Mr. Wonka.
Look, it's a girl that's the key to everything. It's a girl that's the key to everything story.
All their lives.
Run away!
Every good thing in this world started with a dream. So you hold on to yours.
Here we go, Mama.
Oh, geez, another soy boy. Mama's boy. It's that look. It's just like Miles Morales. Oh, you're my little boy. You're my little boy, Miles Morales. And I want you to remember that you belong. You belong, and you should have all the things you want. Our narcissistic, egotistical, self-obsessed society. This is our society eating itself. They're incapable of telling a story about moral virtue, self-sacrifice, doing good for others. Their version of it is Eric Cartman's view of what it is to be a good person is what the people who write this shit think being a good person is. They think being a good person is being obsessed with yourself. They think it is doing everything that makes you happy, and that if you can teach other people how to get everything they want in life and make themselves happy, then that means you're a hero. This is why these things offend me. This is why I watch these things and my skin crawls, because I can feel it. I can feel the moral bankruptcy of it. And look, I'm not on a pulpit here preaching. I'm just saying this is what's wrong. It's like Neo in the Matrix, you know? It's like, do you ever just look around and feel like there's something wrong with the world? And this is what this movie makes me think of. It just makes me think of there's something wrong with the world. You know, Willy Wonka, the Gene Wilder version of Willy Wonka is about a man teaching 5 spoiled brats a moral lesson. Each one of them is a spoiled, self-centered brat. Charlie is he's the best among them. He is the best among them, but even he falls victim to temptation. He falls victim to temptation and becomes a thief in the end of the film, and he almost loses everything for it. But basically, the whole point of the film is that Willy Wonka is a man who his only value to society is what he's created. It's his wealth. It's basically everyone wants something from him. The whole, do you remember in that original film like the whole point of the golden tickets was that people were practically killing each other to get them. It was like Black Friday when you've got all those moms and they're just, ramming people's heads into the doors and they're pulling hair and they're fighting over the toys. It's the worst day in the world, because it's like, this reminds us that we are freaking, as a species, we are just knuckle dragging apes sometimes, and it's depressing. And it's like, Willy Wonka is a man who's looking at that. He is a man, I'm talking about the Gene Wilder original version now. He is a man who is looking at that in the world, and it depresses him. It makes him sad. He's one day going to have to hand off his legacy, which is about making people happy. It's about serving others. It's about protecting the Oompa Loompas, whatever the hell they are. It's about the world that he's built, and that's what means something to him. And he wants to preserve that. The problem he has is that every human being in the world just wants to get from him. They just want to get his wealth. They just want to get his, what he has. They want it for themselves. They're selfish and they're greedy. And he's trying to find the child that won't be that. He's looking, and that's why he's so depressed, and that's why he's so betrayed when Charlie steals the fizzy lifting drink, because the whole point is that was his one hope. For the 4 other kids, all of them were spoiled brats that got what they deserved, and he tried to warn them. He tried to teach them lessons, but they could not. Their greed, their selfishness consumes them. And he was disappointed that Charlie was his last hope, and Charlie failed him. But then Charlie turns it around and does the right thing and redeems his hope in humanity, and that is the point of the story. It's about selflessness. This crap, this is not selflessness. This is selfishness. This is, I want to have a chocolate factory. I want to be able to daydream all day. I want to be able to have all the things I want in life because I'm the one that's most important. It makes me, it's crap. It's just garbage. Just more garbage. Star Fury says, I blame the Hadron Collider. We're in the wrong timeline. Yes. Which is a fun meme. Look, as I say, I'm no like particular fan or follower of Andrew Tate, but I just happened to hear one of the things he said in an interview recently. I think it was with Tucker Carlson or something. And he just had this line about how, like, throughout all human history, good people have usually been outnumbered by evildoers. And evildoers, and I don't know that I agree with, I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know that I exactly agree with what he's saying there. But essentially what he means is the people that are willing to stand up and fight for good. That's probably more accurately what he's saying, is that there's plenty of good people in the world, but the people that are willing to actually put their life, their reputation, everything on the line, the people that fought the American Revolution, the guys that stormed the beaches of Normandy, anyone who's done anything that required great self-sacrifice, to stand up to evil in the world. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, anyone that's had to face great evil in the world has been outnumbered, and the society that has surrounded them has been against them. And yet they persevered. And his contention is that this is the hero's tale. The hero's tale, whether it's a Western, a superhero film, whether it's a war film, anything. The point of a video game about you are assuming the role, Commander Shepard, Mass Effect, you are outnumbered by the evildoers, and you are the one brave person, if you're in a video game assuming that role, or the character in a movie is the one brave person who's willing to take on the enemy and fight them. And another point he makes is that the enemies always have, they fight dirty, they don't fight fair, so they have an advantage. There are usually more of them, so they outnumber you and outgun you. And especially if you're looking at video game archetypes, the final boss is always more physically, he's always more powerful than the heroic character. And yet good prevails because good prevails. And I quite liked this contention that he said, because he kind of says, look, this is the way it works. Evil rises in the world. Good people either stand, the few good people stand up, set an example, and rally more good people to their cause to put that evil down, or evil wins for a while. I'm very much of the school of J.R.R. Tolkien. I believe that evil has a way of undoing itself. Doesn't mean you can just let it run wild, because it will run wild. Sauron will charge across Middle-earth, and he will wreck everything. There will be no more strawberries in spring in Hobbiton if Sauron wins. But at the end of the day, Sauron also is the very force that is his own undoing. In that the greed and the avarice that is bound up in the ring is the very greed and avarice that causes Gollum to destroy it. And so, in many ways, I view the Wokies as analogous to Gollum, crowing over the ring. You know, they have it, my precious victim identity. And finally, all the world must bow to me. All the world must bow to my letter in the alphabet. All of the world must bow to my racial identity. All the world must apologize to me for all the things it hasn't given me for being fat and lazy. And they're crowing. They're crowing as lives are ruined, as people are censored, as people lose their jobs and are thrown in jail, as literally pedophiles defend child sex trafficking, anti-child sex trafficking movies. They attack it as pedophiles defend that position against that film, Sound of Freedom. They crow over that ring. And what they don't know is that they are dancing ever closer to the edge of Mount Doom. They are dancing ever closer to the cliff that leads straight down into the lava that will destroy the ring forever. So that is what I believe, Star Fury. I believe they are dancing toward that cliff, and there is no better proof in my mind than the insanity. And I am shocked by this. Like, I usually think, gee, the bar couldn't get any lower. Well, it just did. The fact that an open supporter of pedophilia is among the critics echoing the complaints about Sound of Freedom, that is a level of lunacy I could never have predicted. So that tells me that they are on the verge of undoing themselves. They are undoing themselves. And Sound of Freedom making $100 million is proof of that. Finn as a Jedi for the win. Fu Man Blue says, I wish I could imagine that The Witcher was good and the big three met up in Star Wars and Finn was a Jedi. Yes. I will say something in defense of Force Awakens. I loved that film when it first came out. Now, it had its problems, I acknowledge. And in retrospect, I agree with the critiques of the film. But you got to remember, when it first came out, I was so wrong about this. I will admit it. I was wrong about this. But I thought Han Solo being killed off in the first film, in the fact that it was in relation to what he had lost with his son. I thought that was a risky choice, but I thought it could work. I was wrong. The big three should have met up. And that is definitely, that being said, there was a lot of potential. You had Finn was an interesting character, a stormtrooper that had broke through the conditioning and had morally objected. We had never seen that before. That was interesting. A morally conscientious objector among the stormtroopers. I think that's a pretty interesting character. You can get a lot out of that. I think Rey was fine. The idea of she's a scavenger. She's living on this planet. She's been alone. She doesn't know who her parents are. And there's, she's got some force powers. Now, I definitely agree that the fact that she can just do everything and she beats, Kylo Ren, all a mistake. Totally acknowledge that. That being said, it wasn't unsalvageable. Now, actually, if I will say one thing, when I first saw Force Awakens, the one thing that did bother me was just how overblown the Star Killer base was, and how it was like, I didn't mind the fact that it was mirroring the plot in A New Hope. That did not bother me. What did bother me is that it was gigantism. It was, the Death Star was scary. What would be scarier than the Death Star? Something 10 times larger than it. That killed 5 planets instead of 1. It's like, okay. So that annoyed me. But I liked Poe Dameron. He was, cocky, daring do pilot. The archetypes were there. And then, of course, the ending. She meets Luke Skywalker, and there's this powerful emotional moment where he's seeing his lightsaber and everything that means to him, and it's in his eyes, and we're excited. And you know what it was? It was a big con. It was a mystery box. However, if it had been done a little better, if the next film had simply continued some of the interesting, tantalizing things we had in that first film, digging deeper into why was Finn able to break through the conditioning? Why was Finn, what's the mystery of how he was able to do that? What was his life like? There were things they could have dug into. I never liked Snoke, actually. I will say that. I never liked Snoke. I remember everyone liked Snoke in Force Awakens, and that was one of the things people hated in The Last Jedi is they killed off Snoke. That's the one thing in The Last Jedi that did not bother me because I was like, I never liked Snoke. He was just the Emperor to me. And of course, and then they just brought back the Emperor. So, well, there you go. But at least there was potential. There was potential. So yes, I would have loved to see Finn as a Jedi. They couldn't allow it. They could not allow Finn to be a serious character. They could not allow him to be a hero. They couldn't even allow it in The Force Awakens. That stop holding my hand. That whole thing. It's like they couldn't allow him to be heroic or to take the lead. He had to be a big dumb joke the whole time. And he was, in my view, just in terms of a story structure angle, the character of Finn was the most interesting of the new characters. Just based on the first film, I'm disregarding what came after. He was the most interesting because of that element of like, oh, he's a reformed stormtrooper. That could have been interesting. So, but it was not to be. Star Fury says Chrome Star Trooper was useless in the Star Wars sequel. Absolutely. And they get this actress who was great as Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones. They get her to play this Chrome Stormtrooper. And that, again, it was just a mystery box. Ooh, what is she? Who is she? What's she up? What's she about? Well, forget about it. It's the polar bear on the island and lost. You're never going to find out, so just quit. Quit now. But you know what actually is even more annoying to me than that? General Hux. I liked the character of General Hux in the first film. He was the most interesting of the villains to me. He was the most interesting of the villains. You know why? Because he didn't have any force powers, and yet he was able to threaten Kylo Ren. I thought that was super interesting. And Kylo Ren was able to threaten him. There was kind of an equal... There was like this rivalry between them. And I liked the fact that Hux was a guy who was tactical. He was also a party guy. He was a believer in the cause. Like his speech on the Starkiller base, he's just foaming at the mouth. He's just foaming at the mouth with totalitarianism. And I just thought that was really interesting. And I thought it was interesting to me because the Sith are all about their force powers. They're all about their passions and everything. They just want to dominate and destroy the Jedi. What's interesting to me about Hux is he was more like, Grand Moff Tarkin, a politician. He's a politician who just wants to play the political game and win. And I thought that was all super interesting. And then what do? They turn him into basically is your refrigerator running kind of phone prank joke in the very next film, in the very first scene. They turn him into a big dumb joke, and then he's an idiot. He's just a boob. And you know what they really did is they turned him into the archetypal, he's a mediocre man who got his position because he's a man, He's basically that. Hux was a classic British villain, a perfect evolution of the Empire, Star Fury says. Well, look, that is in keeping with A New Hope. They were all British villains, and they were great British villains. British people should be proud. They should be proud of their villainy. they should be proud of their legacy of providing great villainy for movies. I would be. The villains are the funnest part of any movie anyway. I'll tell you what it is. And look, I think it's fair because the source of English, and this may surprise people. I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you an explanation that's a little bit like this for why we like British villains. Are you ready? It's going to be similar to this explanation.
And I think the first part of this issue that should be articulated is AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. But
2 letters. Okay. Why do people like British villains? Well, okay. Britain is a place. It's an island. It's a country. It's a very big country. There's a country in it. It's called England. The language English comes from England. So because English comes from England, there is a natural affinity that every English speaker has for the English accent, because English people have an English accent because they're from England. And AI has 2 letters. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I think that we naturally are predisposed, all English speakers, whether you're Australian, South African, American, Canadian, if you hear an English accent, a Queen's English accent, you like it. It's pleasant. And it sounds intelligent, regardless of the intelligence of the speaker. It sounds intelligent. Why? Because it is the source. It's the source code. You're hearing the source of the sound. You're hearing the source of the language. It's powerful. It's interesting. Now, the British also have a stiff upper lip. They are naturally just a bit aloof. They're natural, and it's the source of English common law. So English common law comes from England. England is a country. England is it's a kind of a small country. It's across the ocean. And because that's the source of the English common law culture, which I would argue is mostly the kind of dominant, what countries of the Commonwealth and former members of the Commonwealth, such as we pugnacious Americans, that is, it's the source of the culture. So when you have a villain who is intellectual, refined, and sophisticated, and speaking the source code, it naturally is a perfect juxtaposition with his villainy, because he has a very charming accent and he's very intelligent as he's twisting the neck off of the hero. That's exciting. It's exciting. And we enjoy it. Maybe it's in our DNA. We fought the British and, for independence, we Americans, and maybe we kind of like it. We kind of like imagining our good friends across the pond as villains. We're like, yes. That's right. It's like, put down the colony rebellion harder, Daddy. That's what it is. Starberry says, no, we do not have an accent. You lot do. Now, come now. Come now. Be civilized about this stuff, all right? Wait, I do not have an accent. I'm the only American, I was raised in California. So my accent is just normal. Everyone else, every other American, like a Virginian, a Midwesterner from like Minnesota, thought, like Jeremy from The Quartering is like classic Midwestern accent. He'll say something like, if you want to order a bag of coffee brand coffee, I'm like, a bag for what? Oh, a bag. That's what he means. And then you got like Texas. You got the way to pronounce Texas is Texas. And so those are all accents to me. The refined, the Virginia accent, don't you know? The foghorn leghorn, don't you know? We're from Virginia, yeah, and these parts we're Virginians. It's like that. That is an accent. What I speak is just normal. That's just normal. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, what's funny is I've traveled the country, that is America, quite a bit over the last few years from one side to the other. And I've actually kind of experienced in person a lot of different accents in different states lately. And I really did realize, I'm like, wow, Californians definitely have an accent. And it's an annoying one. It's an annoying one. In fact, I would argue I would say the most annoying American accent is absolutely like the Minnesota, Minnesota. That's probably the most annoying accent. And Californian accent, especially Southern Californian, would be like just above that. And then I would say the most charming American accent. Oh, that's a good question. What would be the most charming American accent? I think it's maybe my favorite is the Boston accent. I love the Boston accent. It's the best. And then like the Deep South. I kind of like the educated Deep South. I like. No, I wouldn't even say that. Like country South. Like I was driving through the upper northern Florida, and I love the way people talk there. They're just like, "Do you have everything you need, young man? Is that everything you wanted?" At the convenience store. Well, you have yourself a great day. And I'm just like, well, that is just audible chocolate. That is just beautiful. Just beautiful. Puma in Blue says you're also common. You just don't know it. So you talk like actors. Well, yeah, because actors are all Californians. You talk like actors. You know, I will say this. I have gone to great pains to expunge, to eliminate from all of my diction. I do my best to eliminate uptones because this is something Americans do that is very annoying and they need to stop it immediately, which is ending any sentences like they're a question and basically uptoning on everything and saying like, I really think we need to have a talk about your job performance. Like, oh God, I hate that. It makes me want to vomit. We need, go back to like 1940s movies in America and like Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. Well, we'll always have Paris. It's like people talked back then. Fu Man Blue says, we prayed you guys to burn that. We wanted a new one. Oh, yeah. Star Fury says, don't forget, we burnt your White House as well as we were leaving. On your way out the door. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Hey, it's no worse for wear. We've expanded it since then. It's got a West Wing now. Honestly, Washington, D.C. at the time the White House burned was kind of a shithole swamp, and nobody liked living there, least of all the government. It really was. It was a half-built town that was mostly swamp, and most of the congressmen and senators had to live in taverns, and they really didn't like it very much. John Adams hated it, who was the president who occupied the White House before Madison. No, Adams, then Jefferson, then Madison. And gee, I can't believe I almost said that. Anywho, so yeah, it's not like, if you had burned Philadelphia, if you had burned Independence Hall, then it would have been a problem. It would have been a real problem if you had burned Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Fortunately, at the time, the White House and nobody really cared that much about Washington, D.C. They're like, it's a swamp. Who cares? Burn it. We don't like it anyway. Anywho, Star Fury says, worse than the uptalk is the vocal fry and not pronouncing R's that makes my skin crawl. Yes, absolutely. Well, what else in the stack of stuff? Because I had more for you. It's not getting better, folks, over at Disney. It just isn't. It just isn't. Yeah, let me share my screen with you. If I can find it. Share. Can't do audio, but I don't have to. There we go. Try this headline. Kathleen Kennedy rumored to stay on at Lucasfilm because no one wants the job. Oh, no. Can you imagine? This is the most incompetent woman in America. Second most. That's the second most incompetent woman in America. I just played a clip from the first most incompetent woman in America. Let me explain what Lucasfilm is. Lucasfilm is a movie studio. It makes movies. Movies are motion pictures that people watch for entertainment. Indiana Jones is a movie we made, and it is successful. Can you just imagine why no one wants to inherit this shit show? A new rumor claims that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy will stay on in her position despite her disastrous leadership of the studio. Have you ever seen a human being fail upward faster than this woman? It is unreal. She plays the corporate Game of Thrones like nobody's business. I mean, if for no other reason, I respect her for that. I respect her in the way that Ripley respects the alien. Don't misunderstand, my dear sailors and star nuts. This latest rumor comes after Lucasfilm's latest box office endeavor, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, bombed at the box office. The film has grossed only $131 million. Oh my God, no! It's a $300 million movie, folks. and another $126 million internationally for a global gross of $257 million, just about $100 million shy of what they would need to break even. Given these poor numbers and the film's estimated production budget of $300 million, box office analyst OMB Reviews Haptip Odin predicts the film is unlikely to reach $400 million globally, and thus it will cost Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company around $250 million. $250 million. Failure. Failure. Not only is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny an epic disaster. Oh my God, I mispronounced. I'm sorry. Not only is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny an epic disaster, but even the company's flagship Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian, is now suffering. Viewers of the series panned the recently released third season. That's putting it mildly. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes for the third season sits at a rotten 50%, which to me is a vast overrating. My God. Even the shows fail upward. How does The Mandalorian get a 50%? I mean, I'm talking season 3 here, folks. I mean, I am fully willing to admit, season 1, pretty good. I enjoyed it. Season 2, highs and lows, some really good ones, some really bad ones. Nice closing, nice attempt to apologize for Luke Skywalker at the end. Season 3 is a disaster on a level I just cannot overstate to you. So 50% is to me an inflated, obscenely overrated score. The company's recently produced Willow series was not only canceled just after one season, the Walt Disney Company removed the entire series as part of a massive tax write-off plan. Oh no. With CEO Bob Iger remarking, we realized that we made a lot of content that is not necessarily driving subscription growth. And we're getting very much more surgical about what it is we make. Even if you look past Kennedy's handling of Lucasfilm and the results of this year, she's only managed to decline. The Force Awakens opened up to a booming $2 billion at the box office globally. However, subsequent releases saw big declines. The Last Jedi only brought in $1.3 billion only. Imagine $700 million loss from movie to movie. Can you believe that? They could not see right then that it was over. Like, it was over. You just destroyed the most valuable property in all of entertainment worldwide. Worldwide. Chinese concentration camp prisoners, reenact Star Wars, for God's sake. Finally, I can't back that up with facts. But anyway, finally, The Rise of Skywalker barely eked out over $1 billion. And in between these films, Kennedy produced and oversaw Solo, a Star Wars story, #Solo lost money, the first Star Wars film to definitively lose money. Even on the company's publishing front, its High Republic initiative has not found an audience after its opening book. Oh, yes. They trashed dozens and dozens of lovingly crafted novels beloved by Star Wars fans the world over, trashed them all, released their own book. Failure. A report analyzing Circana Bookscan data by Upstream Reviews found that the High Republic sales have been a 90% to 95% drop in sales between the launch with The Light of the Jedi and the current High Republic novels in barely over 2 years. Do you think, just sidebar, do you think the consumers of this crap, picture on screen, green titty milk, the clapping seals that enjoy this crap, do you think that they read? I'm just asking. Do you think the wokies that are out there with their pronouns in the bio, the Ukraine flag, and the land whales, the blue hair, the whole thing, and they're out there trashing Sound of Freedom? Ew, gross. Oh, all these gross MAGA supporters trying to stop children from being sold into slavery. Gross. Do you think they're readers, Kathleen? Is that what you think? They're reading, are they? Well, not your books. Not your book, madam. Not your book. Despite all these markers clearly showing that Kennedy has completely mismanaged Lucasfilm on nearly all fronts, that is the understatement of the century, This latest rumor implies she will stay on board as president of the company. The new rumor comes from Matt McGloin. That is a great name, Matt McGloin. I just got to really get really the deep. There you go, Matt McGloin of the Cosmic Book News. He posted on Twitter, also asked about Kathleen Kennedy getting fired. Told no one wants the job, so likely not happening. So this from Matt McGloin, who says not going to happen. Well, I mean, that's a rumor anyone could predict. So, but what's interesting about it is no one wants the job. That's kind of interesting. Now, I am inclined to believe this rumor. I really am, because, you know, it's easy to say, wow, what an idiot. She screwed everything up. Like, someone's got to come in and fix this thing. But then imagine being the person that's going to come in and fix it. You know, and I've said this before. You know, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, before I watched Mandalorian season 3, I had a high opinion of these two creatives. I had listened to Dave Filoni's interviews. I admired a lot of the Star Wars, the Clone Wars series. I even liked a lot of Star Wars Rebels. It was definitely way more cartoony and definitely not as good as the Clone Wars, but it had a couple episodes here and there that were pretty good. And I liked Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character. I liked a lot of that. I liked Hera, by the way. I liked Hera. I thought she was a great character. There were good characters in Star Wars Rebels. So I had a high opinion of him. And then, of course, Jon Favreau of Iron Man. Hello, come on. And then I see Mandalorian season 3, and I can't even believe it. I just can't even process it. I've never seen the writing. It's not even writing. It's just shit. It's just shit on the screen. It's like, this is the way. This is the way. You have to eat over there because you have to take your helmet off to eat, because this is the way. We're camped on a beach. We are camped on a beach with no supplies. Be careful. The lake where we baptize our foundlings is also a deeply infested giant crocodile spawning ground. There are also giant pterodactyls. They're very hungry. Do be careful. Watch your step. The dumbest show I've had. Moff Gideon. Oh, Mandalorian. You will never defeat me in my Beskar armor. It is Beskar armor. Grand Admiral Thrawn is returning. And I'm thinking to myself, what explains this? What explains this level of incompetence from what I thought were at least reasonably competent writers? They understood how to string a plot together, I thought. And I'm confused. And, you know, my feeling is, it is, I call it work from home writing. But, you know, what I have observed in corporate environments where bright, creative people are just put upon, you know, month after month, they're given way too much work. You know, they're not given support that they need. Their souls begin to get crushed. I see it all the time. Their souls begin to get crushed. And all they hear from management is, well, do more with less. And they say, but these are the problems. And they want to do the right thing. They want to help out, you know, their customers, but they can't because they're not being given the tools. And you know what it does? It crushes you. It crushes your spirit. It crushes your work ethic. You stop caring. Apathy sets in. I don't care. Oh, well, maybe if we stop answering the phone, they'll stop calling. That's the attitude that sets in. And then what do the corporate higher-ups say? Well, we can't get good people. We can't get good people. These people are all lazy. Nobody wants to work. They have a bad attitude. It's like, well, they had a good attitude 6 months ago. They had a great attitude 6 months ago when they were asking you they were giving you their ideas. They were saying, these are things we could do to improve. And you said, oh, we don't have the budget for that. No, we can't do that. Nope, that's never going to happen. Do more with less. And then they had to listen to your customers who are unhappy with you running your company badly. They had to sit there and take the shit for that day after day after day after day and tell those poor customers, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. That's the policy. And then they stop caring. That's what happens to creatives, I think, like Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau. They've had the life crushed out of them. It's a theory. I could be wrong. They could just be idiots. I don't know. But my theory is, you spend enough time shoveling the shit and you just give up after a while. The human spirit can only take so much. And I just think when you have a vacancy in Kathleen Kennedy's position, who would want that gig? All you are there to do is shovel the shit. You are not there to improve anything. The MCU humor, that's going nowhere. Okay? The big dumb jokes, that's going nowhere. The identity politics, that's going nowhere. The unending sludge pipeline that must always be fed, no matter the cost, no matter the quality, it must be fed always. There must be 10 writers of all the right identity boxes in the room, always, whether or not they're good writers. It all must be there. The algorithm must be fed, and you will be the one to feed it. Do you want the job? No. No, sir, I don't. Would you do it for $10 million, knowing that, would you do it for $20 million, knowing that all of your career and all the works up to this point, your reputation will be ruined after 5 box office bombs that you presided over under our auspices? Would you like that job? No. No, sir, I would not. And so that is why I'm inclined to believe this rumor. I'm inclined to believe this is true. I would want this job. I would want this job if I had the power to fix what they have broken. But would I want to serve Disney masters? No. No. Because all you would be serving is the Kevin bot. You would be serving the Kevin robot type. I'm not literally Kevin Feige because he's running Marvel, but my point is the guy like him is who you would be serving. Mediocre. She is a mediocre woman who has achieved great power in the entertainment world by just failing over and over and being accountable to no one. It's the fans' fault that she failed. I say I have no problem with bad writers and failed projects and all that. Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. What I have a problem with is when people like her continue to be given massive success, act entitled, and deliberately sow division and hatred among fans for no reason, while benefiting from that system, while producing garbage. That is what I object to. So, yeah. How about this headline? Star Wars to release fewer movies and TV shows, confirm execs. And this is even a little outdated because Bob Iger has since said he's talking about getting rid of the whole entertainment division. He's talking about he's talking about selling off ABC. He's hinting at it. He's not openly saying it, but he's hinting at it. So anyway, Star Fury says, I wouldn't be anywhere else, mate. And I'm sure that is directed at your captain. It's 2:30 in the morning? Oh, no, Star Fury, please, don't feel bad. You can turn it off and watch it on the restream. I am having fun, though. We'll wrap it up soon. Look, folks, I can't keep Star Fury up all night. It's not ethical as a captain. He's on the dog watch, folks. He's on the dog watch. That's what we're calling it. It was actually Silverback who said that the captain was in port for repairs last Sunday. And I said, I quite like that. That's exactly what it was. You are correct, sir. Now, what was I going to show you? So we got Dial of Death. Oh, yeah, okay. Should we read a review that's bagging on Indiana Jones? I'm a little over this. Oh, no. This one I do want to show you, though. Yeah. Oh, Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman is very unhappy. Okay, I got to get this in a browser where you can hear it. Hang on. I got to do a new screen share where you can actually hear this. I'm thinking it's got to be Final Fantasy 16, folks. I don't know what it is. It's been a while since I've done Final Fantasy. I miss Final Fantasy. I'm hearing this one's a barn burner. I'm going to take a chance. I'm thinking it's got to be, but the Nintendo Switch is so much fun. You got to help me, chat. Fu Man Blue says Nintendo Switch. I haven't checked the Rumble chat in a while. I'm sorry. Yes, okay. It's also Star Fury and Fu Man Blue. Yes. There seems to be quite the lag with the Rumble stream. It's like it's an hour behind. Maybe I'm just... just from my perspective here. Okay. Here we go. Going to share my screen. Present. Screen. Share audio. You need to have the audio on this for it to have the intended effect.
One thing before I get off this. The motherfucker who said we're going to keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments.
So he's not, I believe what he's referring to is Bob Iger made a kind of flippant remark about, these WGA and Film Actors Guild strikers, they are dragging this out and they're going to cause the industry to suffer and they're going to cause people to lose their jobs. And so he's kind of dumping on them a little bit. And so Ron Perlman, resident psychopath, had some thoughts about this.
Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial. Some of it is karma. And some of it is just figuring out who the fuck said that. And we know who said that. And where he fucking lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 fucking million a year for creating nothing. Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of shit that stirs shit up. Peace out. The one thing.
What a tough guy. What a tough man is Ron Perlman. I do kind of agree with him, though, that you make $27 million for making nothing? Well, he does, if he's talking about Iger. It's like you get $27 million to have failure after failure to lie to your investors, to lie to them. So it's like, no, but the only problem is, what do you make, Ron? What do you get paid to do over there ranting on Twitter? What is that? I was going to show you something. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think I was going to say, I think Ron Perlman he's confused. I think he's confusing himself with his character at Sons of Anarchy. I think he's accidentally mistaking himself for that character in Sons of Anarchy. What's the name? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Of course, he doesn't come up in the top billing. Why wouldn't he come up in the very first top billing on this show? He's like one of the main characters. Clay Morrow, that's his name. Okay, yeah. I think he's confusing himself for his character of Clay Morrow, who actually is a tough guy. And I think Ron Perlman, unfortunately, thinks he's a tough guy. Listen to me, motherfucker. Listen to me. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to lose your home, motherfucker. What? Dude, go join the picket line, Ron. Go get pizza with the other plebes. Do your part, sir. Do your part. They could just eat each other as far as I'm concerned. Burn Hollywood. That goes for Ron. That goes for old Bobby Iger. That goes for all the idiots, the writers, the Film Actors Guild. Yes, they all can just eat each other as far as I am concerned. This is the Iron Age, and we are building new things. Now, what else do I have for you? I've just, we've gone through so much of the stack of stuff. I do believe there's one more thing that we truly must discuss. Dear Sailors and Star Nuts, here we go. This we'll close out with this. This will be our swan song for today. You know me. You know your captain. I sure do love to read a cope. I love to read a fan cope. I just do. Look, psychology fascinates me. I am a student of the human heart. That's why I'm a writer. I seek to explore the intricacies of human psychology. And so it fascinates me when I read a Disney fan, a Disney, shall we say, supporter. Share screen. Yeah, it's all this switch. I'm gonna work out the kinks on this. All right, there we go. Here's a headline for you. What is balance in the Force? Star Wars: The Clone Wars had the answer. In the Star Wars saga, it was prophesied that the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, would bring balance to the Force. But what exactly does that mean? You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. Said, oh, that's the front. You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force, motherfucker, said Mace Windu to Qui-Gon Jinn in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It was the first time the Star Wars saga had introduced the idea that Anakin Skywalker was a prophesied chosen one, an idea that drew upon the mythological concepts that had inspired George Lucas's space opera. While it is later made clear that this Jedi prophecy claims Anakin will destroy the Sith, the concept of balance in the Force was never fully explored until the release of the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars. What exactly is meant by balance is often misunderstood and debated by fans. Many have assumed, given that Anakin would eventually fall to the dark side and wipe out the Jedi before destroying the Sith, that balance meant there being an equal number of Jedi and Sith in the galaxy. However, all evidence in the Star Wars itself indicates that this is not the case. Two separate Clone Wars stories dive deeper into the nature of the Force. While such explorations are typically shrouded in mystery, these episodes do shed a little more light on how balance is achieved. The Clone Wars introduced two worlds strong in the Force. The Season 3's Mortis arc and Season 6's Yoda arc each introduced strange new worlds on which secrets of the Force were revealed. The Mortis storyline saw Anakin, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka Tano traveling to the mysterious world of Mortis, a realm that existed outside conventional time. Mortis was home to the father, the son and the daughter, powerful Force wielders, who represented balance, the dark side and the light, respectively. Their actions throughout the story serve as a metaphor for many of the events in the Skywalker saga. As the son drifts further into the influence of the dark side, he attempts to kill the father, whose life is saved by the daughter, suggesting it is the dark side that threatens balance while the light defends it. The Yoda arc revolves around Yoda's first interactions with the spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn, revealing how Qui-Gon showed Yoda the path towards immortality by preserving his consciousness in the Force upon death. The story saw Yoda travel to an unnamed Force planet in the galaxy's deep core, said to be the birthplace of the midichlorians, and a place where the living Force and the cosmic Force were one. Here, Yoda encountered 5 Force priestesses who have training him to undertake. I have no idea why that is worded that way. They first sent Yoda to a cave where he encounters an embodiment of his own dark side. Though Yoda initially tries to reject this darkness, he ultimately realizes he must accept it as a part of himself, indicating that Jedi must be aware, not outright reject, their own dark side. What does Clone Wars reveal about balance in the Force? Evidently, balance in the Force is not a matter of balancing the number of light side and dark side users in the galaxy. Rather, as indicated by the events on Mortis, those who use the light side are acting in accordance with the will of the Force and are therefore agents of balance. The daughter is frequently seen following the will of the father and acting to protect him. This suggests that the light side is aligned with the will of the Force, while it is the corrupting influence of the dark side that turns Force wielders against this balance. However, the balance has also been threatened by a Jedi Order who have grown arrogant in their mastery of the light side, and thus blinded to the threat of the dark side. Ahsoka can resolve a Star Wars Rebels Mandalorian mystery. That was what I intended to read. Oh no. Oh no. That was what I was going to read. I just unfairly maligned that poor guy. That actually wasn't a bad take. All right, yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, I mean, honestly, though, who cares? Seriously, I'm just going to be honest with you. I watched those episodes. Who cares? Like, at this point, there's no point in investing in any of this lore anymore. And also, you know, it was a bit heavy-handed, don't you think? There's literally 2 gods representing the light and the dark. I think it would have been Yes, it's fine. It's fine. It's not. It's fine. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Ahsoka can resolve a Star Wars Rebels Mandalorian mystery. The Mandalorian saw Bo-Katan start rebuilding Mandalore, but some familiar faces are missing from the planet. Ahsoka can clear up their whereabouts. Star Wars Rebels introduced a plethora of new Mandalorian faces to the galaxy far, far away. Similarly, thanks to The Mandalorian on Disney+, Mandalore is becoming increasingly important to the future of the Star Wars franchise. It has taken a deeper dive into the warrior culture that has originated on the planet. And Season 3 saw many Mandalorians returning to their old homeworld. However, a few important figures are missing from their reassembled ranks, and Ahsoka, the TV series, can explain why. Ahsoka will welcome back the most prominent Mandalorian character from Star Wars Rebels, Sabine Wren. The series will mark, by the way, she was my least favorite character on Star Wars Rebels. She is like the she was like the Wesley Crusher of that series to me. She was a self-insert, I don't know of whom, but she was this kind of self-insert teenager character that's good at everything and has this ideal life. It really annoyed the hell out of me. It was very much a Wesley Crusher character. So not excited for the return of that character. I did like Hera. I liked, can't remember his name, but Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character. It's going to be the meme of my channel. Captain Garrett. Can never remember the name. I used to be good at this. I got to get back at it. I'm getting back in the saddle. The series will mark Sabine's first outing in live action, with Natasha Liu Bordizzo taking over the role of Tyra Sircar, who voiced the character in animation. Over the course of Rebels, Sabine played an instrumental role in securing the support of the Mandalorians for the rebellion, inspiring her people to take up arms against the Empire. Through her, characters such as Fen Rao and the rest of Clan Wren were introduced. But where are they now? Why are Fen Rao and Clan Wren important to Mandalore? I don't know. Why should I care? What is that important? Why are they? They are? Who said they are? Fen Rao, who first appeared in the Star Wars Rebels Season 2 episode The Protector of Conquered Dawn, was one of the Mandalorian protectors, an elite warrior force charged with protecting the rulers of Mandalore and maintaining balance in Mandalore's warrior culture. When Gar Saxon, the Imperial Viceroy of Mandalore, turned on the protectors in an attempt to lure Rao out of hiding, Rao became the group's last survivor. Although he had initially served the Empire and opposed the rebels, Rao later became a valuable ally to the rebellion. Clan Wren were the noble Mandalorian clan from which Sabine hailed. They were led by Sabine's mother, Ursa Wren, and among their ranks was Sabine's brother, Tristan. Clan Wren have allied themselves with the Empire after Sabine left Mandalore, as opposing Imperial rule would have likely resulted in their destruction. However, when Sabine returned and defeated Gar Saxon in combat, Ursa sided with her daughter and killed Saxon before he could shoot Sabine in the back. Clan Wren and Fen Rao, meanwhile, were last seen in Star Wars Rebels, pledging alliance to Bo-Katan Kryze as she assumed leadership of Mandalore, prior to the Empire's purge of the planet. Could Fen Rao and Clan Wren return to Mandalore? 3 groups of Mandalorians were seen reuniting on their home planet in The Mandalorian. Bo-Katan's fleet of Mandalorians who had lived on the planet prior to the purge. The children of the Watch and the survivors of the purge would continue living on the planet's devastated surface. Some fans had expected to see the like of Fen Rao or who's her? Who wanted to see Fen Rao? Oh my God! Of course, yes, that's what I wanted. I was pining the whole season. Giant crocodile fights, houseplant pirate. The one thing on my mind was, where in the hell is Fen Rao? Just where in the hell is Fen Rao? Excuse me. I have seen a lot about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker and Boba Fett and Gina Carano and the Stormtrooper. I have seen an awful lot of that just boring bilk. And what I would like to see is, where is Fen Rao? Or frankly, any of the Wrens. It doesn't have to be Fen Rao. If I could just find out what some of the Wrens are doing, I would be a lot more invested in this series. So yes, we were expecting to see the like of Fen Rao or the Wrens appear in Season 3 of The Mandalorian, but there was ultimately no sign of them. This has left their fate ambiguous. With it being possible, they were killed in the purge. However, With Sabine returning to Star Wars on Ahsoka, the fate of her family, as well as her old friend and mentor, Fenn Rau, could be cleared up. Well, thank God. Just thank God. I was just really worried about that. It is unlikely that Ahsoka will feature another return to Mandalore. The series is set to focus on Ahsoka Tano's hunt for Grand Admiral Thrawn, as well as her conflict with fallen Jedi Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. Who? But Sabine may need to catch up on her old Jedi friend on what she's missed. Through Sabine, an explanation could be given for what became of her family and Fenn Rau after the Purge of Mandalore. If they are still alive, then future seasons of The Mandalorian, or even Dave Filoni's upcoming Star Wars movie, may see them join their people back on Mandalore. Thank God. I can't wait. And I hope it's the whole subject of that Star Wars movie. Oh, Star Wars. It's about the Wren's return. Jeez. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, there's more. Why Sabine Wren uses Ezra Bridger's lightsaber in Ahsoka. Oh, no. How many of these? Ezra Bridger left his lightsaber to Sabine. Is there more? Star Wars Rebel pinpoints the death of George Lucas's sequel trilogy. Well, that's probably a good one, actually. No, that one I won't read in my breathless voice. But where are the Wrens? That's what's been on my mind. I'm like, well, gee, we got Tim Meadows over there at the bureaucratic department of Coruscant, who is making a big joke out of the return of the Imperial Remnant, and that's all fine and dandy. What I'd really like to know is, where are the Wrens? Because if I could just get an answer to that question, that would make this whole plot work. And it would make that crocodile fight truly meaningful and emotionally spellbinding. How does this writer muster this much energy? It doesn't matter, does it? It just, look, everyone needs a job. I get it. It's a living. It's a living. Man, is that a grinder, though? Man. It's like, whatever shit Disney shovels, go fan theorize about it, plebe. Fan theories, please. Oh, yes, of course. Yes, of course, Your Majesty. Yes, right away. Yes, I do recall something about the Ren line. The Ren line was mentioned in an obscure episode of the Clone Wars. Yes. Oh, that would be not an easy living, my friends. Fu Man Blue says, well, I like to talk to you, so I'm not going to dogpile you. Star Fury says, stop talking about Star Wars. I might bleed to death from spontaneous stigmata. Fu Man Blue says, you're self-aware, so you don't need me to agree with you to validate yourself. You might be talking amongst yourselves. I'd have to catch up on the chat history. We need a Swords and Starships Discord chant. So I was thinking Gilded, Fu Man Blue. Do we think Gilded or do we think Discord? Because I feel like Gilded is kind of more the thing right now. But I will defer. In fact, what I'm thinking is I could probably use some help with some projects. So I'll put in the chat. No, hang on. Let me get that. Yes, there it is. There. So you're interested in helping at all with the channel. I probably will have some things. Discord has gone woke, Star Fury says. See, that's what I'm worried about. Look, now I'm not trying to be an edgelord or anything. I'm not trying to be in Discord and, doing a bunch of gamer words or anything. It's like, but I want to be able to speak freely. I want to be able to speak freely in Discord and people to have fun. And if it's like I've got to police the thing because it's going to get banned all the time, I don't want that noise. If Gilded is better, I say do Gilded. But that's, yeah, definitely Fu Man Blue, Star Fury. I mean, you're going to be moderators. It's going to happen. You've been, you are senior members of the crew. when we are in the observation lounge and we're discussing the mission, Star Fury, Fu Man Blue, Tom, Silverback, all there. Sometimes Wrangler. Wrangler pops in once in a while as well. So hat tip and shout out and salute. It's probably too many things, but salute to all of you lurkers in the chat. Please do like and subscribe. This is the Captain's Cast on Swords and Starships. I am Captain Garrett. And my heart breaks for these poor writers that have to go out there and write interesting fan theories about Ahsoka. It's like, what? Why did Ezra leave his lightsaber to Sabine? Who cares? That's important. Sabine is such an annoying character. God, there's always one. There's always one in every series. This is why Saturday morning cartoon type stuff, it's hard for me. Even when I was a kid and I watched Saturday morning cartoons, which I loved, like Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, stuff like that, there's always the one character that's kind of annoying, usually. There's just one in every story. I don't know. I try to avoid it in my stories, but, it happens. So that was Sabine for me. But, all right, well, to my dear crew, we have chewed the fat. I am off to see Oppenheimer. As soon as I can find a showing that is not absolutely full, I cannot wait. I'm going to watch this movie. I'm just going to watch the shit out of this movie. I'm just so excited. Oppenheimer. I'm just going to, oh my God, I got an atomic bomb detonation. I have a weird obsession with the atomic age. I do. Fallout, anyone? I love Fallout. I just really love that series. I am going to go see Oppenheimer. I'm going to have a review for you on Sunday on the stream. We're going to talk about Oppenheimer and anything else that comes up in the meantime. And, we'll just keep watching Sound of Fury dominate. Just put a beat down on every single look. I mean, I love Mission Impossible, but even Mission Impossible is taking a beating. It's taking a beating for freedom. Freedom, motherfucker. Do you speak it? Right. All right. That's it. Well, the time has come. 8 bells and all's well. It is time for the captain to retire to his cabin. And so I say to all of you, dear sailors and starnauts, salute you. And every Thursday and Sunday, we will be here. And we shall defend our franchises. And we shall defend our characters. We shall never surrender. So until next time, this is Captain Garrett saying, I will see you. There it is. I got to get the microphone on the other side. There it is. I will see you out there.